Hey, Richard Smith, MED, Dracolom, David, and Lewis. Lewis, I see you said you're heading to sleep at 6 a.m. and you've been up all day and night. Yeah, Lewis, you better get some sleep, man. Hey, Erwin, nice to see you here. Can you hear me okay? How's the sound? Sound is good, perfect. Love it. Okay, well, as you can see, it's a nice day. I think I'm almost not sick at all. Hey, Martin, nice to see you here. I'm almost not sick at all, so it's good. It's good. We're gonna. I'm hoping for a lot of good conversations, but we can't control that. Um, there's a lot of people on the street today. There's a market that is here, I think, once a month. I don't know if you can see it. There's these umbrellas, and that's a market. Oh, Erwin, happy birthday. It's your birthday. Hey, happy birthday, man. That's awesome. What are you doing special today, Erwin? Linda says I am right on time. Yes. So normally about being on time, normally I'm the type of person who arrives early. So I guess I'm the type of person who also arrives early to streams. I don't like being late even by 1 minute. So when I am, I don't like it. But yeah, nothing special. Erwin, you should do something cool today. You should do something for yourself. Congratulate yourself for surviving another rotation around the sun. Indulge yourself in a nice vegan dessert. It looks warm, but I'm in the shade and it is not very warm in the shade. But that's okay.
Ich weiß, es hat sich auf einmal so leicht angefühlt.
You are here, says Erwin. Well, I appreciate you being here, Erwin. That's awesome. You guys want to try a social experiment? Okay. After the stream, I go to outside in nice weather listening to music. Oh, hell yeah, nice, nice. Well, I think today's stream is gonna be. You guys want to try a social experiment? It's gonna be no longer than 2 hours, but yeah, we'll see. Adam Reyes says hello, Chip. Hey, Adam Reyes, nice to see you here. Linda asks, what do you think of the idea of having a sign that says information only, like you pay for ham and pigs get gassed if you don't want to talk to people? That's a good. That's a really good sign, Linda. I would also maybe not put it as in get gassed, but maybe get put in gas chambers. I think that sounds a little bit more drastic to people, and a lot of people might be like, huh? Because when you say get gassed, a lot of people, I don't think they really know what that means or something. I don't know. That's just my thinking. Maybe I'm just ideating. I don't know if it's really true about that. Like I wouldn't know. Jamie asks, what's the social experiment you're doing? Well, Jamie, we're asking people some questions. We're doing a social experiment trying to understand their moral values and if their moral values align with how they're behaving, essentially. And the social experiment does portray animal ethics. So I'm curious, how do you feel, Jamie, about animal ethics? Do you think animals deserve moral consideration? And by that I mean that if our actions impact them, we should consider their well-being. Hey, John Kautag, nice to see you here. Hey, Lizzie. If nobody comes, we'll have to move on the other side. I feel like it's always tricky with this side of the area. You guys want to try a social experiment? Mega Jordan asks, Amsterdam. Yes, this is Amsterdam, yes. Museum Plein, yes, exactly. Oh, Lizzie, were you sick also? Damn, there definitely is a thing going around, huh? Lizzie, you feel like shit. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. It's not Mokum, no. It's not Mokum Museum. Mokum Museum is somewhere there. I'm right in front of Rijksmuseum right now. Lizzie says I have COVID. Oh shit, Lizzie, I'm sorry about that. That sucks. You know, rest, get some vitamin C time released, and rest. I don't think there's anything you can do about it. And if you get some fever and it doesn't bother you too much, let your body produce some fever, because that's when your body fights against the virus. If I'm not mistaken, the fever response from the body is so that the virus stops replicating. So it is useful. I know it's when I'm on this side that I went through it, and it's it's easy to say after you've gone through it, but when you're there, it kind of sucks. I know. Mega Jordan 9691 asks, "What are you doing?" Well, I'm just holding a sign right now, trying to get some people to have a conversation with me. I'll maybe wait another 3 or 4 minutes. 2 people just almost crashed my bike. And we'll ask people some questions and see if they're being morally consistent. What is the topic? The topic is animal ethics. That's why we're here. Yeah, we're here to question how people if people think that we should consider animals morally, and by that I mean that if our actions impact them, then we should consider their well-being. Jesus Christ, so many people in that area. Today is also Vegan Future is here, but they're on the other side of this market. I'm guessing they're having an even more traffic than here. So Mega Jordan, you say you can agree to animal ethics? You can agree that animals deserve moral consideration? You want to try a social experiment? I think perhaps we should move. Okay, let's give it 2 more minutes. This is always the part that stresses me out. Just sitting here with a sign and waiting for people to come. I don't know why. It's always the stressful part for me. I guess it's also because, people tune in to have the conversations and to hear the conversations, and one of the conversations doesn't come. But it's out of my control at the end of the day, right? Random people thinking being on camera is amazing. Linda, yeah. Mega Jordan says, the problem is, how can animals communicate their feelings with us? They can't talk. Well, that's a very good point. That's a very, very good point that you're making, Mega Jordan. And because they cannot talk, then maybe we should just infer, shouldn't we? Because they cannot give consent, that maybe we should infer that they did not give consent, right? Just like we would with any other human being who cannot talk or communicate with us, right? We would infer that they did not consent. And we would only do actions that impact them if it's about their well-being, not ours, isn't it? Do you think there's ethical animal eating, like hunting seasoned meat? I don't hunt, but I'm just wondering. So I think I'll repeat it, but we need to be clear on this side. I don't think there is a problem with eating meat. I think the problem is with exploiting and slaughtering animals. I think that if you want to cut your own hand and eat it, I would have no issues. If a human being would give consent and they would want you to eat them, I would have no problems. If an animal could somehow give you consent and you would want to eat them, sure, no problem there. Hey, are you guys okay being live on my YouTube channel?
Oh yeah.
Can you come here so that you're in view?
Sure.
Nice, love it. Where are you guys from?
From the Netherlands. From the Netherlands.
From the Netherlands. Okay. So I'll just ask you, how do you guys feel about animals?
But they're nice.
They're nice?
I like animals, like all of them.
Why are they nice?
Because they're cute.
They're
not,
cute?
Not all of them, but yeah, not all of them. But
Well,
most. Yeah, some are social. There are a lot of different colors, different ways to communicate, to how to live.
Okay, I appreciate that. Okay. Do you think that, and I'll explain, we should give animals moral consideration? And by that I mean that if our actions impact them, then we should consider their well-being.
Yeah. I didn't got it.
Yeah, that's okay. So let me put it this way. If I'm driving a car
Yeah.
and there's an animal on the road,
Yeah.
and considering that my car wouldn't be damaged at all if I hit that animal, do you think I should consider whether to hit that animal or not?
You don't have to hit it because it's an animal.
I don't have to, but let's say it's really annoying for me to do that. I would have to, I don't know, maybe.
Well, you stop and you don't kill the animal.
Yeah. So you would think that I have a moral obligation to not kill them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. In this situation, what if it's inconvenient for me to swerve or to stop?
Well, I don't care. Don't kill the animal.
Okay, I appreciate it. And what if, we're on this road where everybody kills animals? Everybody, when there's an animal on this road,
Well, tell them that they don't have to.
Tell they don't have to do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're also animals.
They
We are
don't
also
listen.
animals. Don't kill them.
so the fact that everybody does it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
But what if I've been doing it my whole life? I've been killing animals on that road my whole life.
Try to stop it.
Stop it. I appreciate that. Okay, love it. Okay. So I appreciate, I've drawn this hypothetical, but now I'm going to go into the real life scenario, right? When it comes to consuming animals and consuming animal products, do you think there is a parallel between what I just said about driving animals through with my car?
But we are vegetarian.
You're
so
vegetarian?
we never kill animals. We don't want to.
But do you consume like animal products at all?
Yeah, we do.
I am
Like
vegan.
cheese.
They are vegetarian.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Why are you vegan? That's awesome, by the way.
I'm vegan because when I was a kid,
We were vegan
I,
when
we were
were
always
very
being
small.
vegan, and I don't really need to eat animals, cheese, eggs.
It's amazing, man. I'll just give you a
And
fist
we
bump
don't
right
want
there.
to kill them. But when we were smaller, we all eat vegetarian, and a little bit later we eat cheese, but not very much. And we don't want to kill them because they're also animals.
But do you think that animals die also in the production of making milk or cheese?
Yeah, of course, because like chickens, if you give them eggs, if they are not giving eggs anymore, well, they kill them and they put them in the soup. And that's by everything the same.
Also, the chickens that don't lay eggs, the males, what do you think happens to them?
Well, they kill them.
They kill them on their
they
first
keep
day of life.
one
Yeah.
to make the babies, and
Yeah.
that's everything, and then they kill it.
Yeah, exactly. So for every chicken that lays eggs out there, there's a male chick who was killed because,
They kill
That's
it
not
and they make
fair.
nuggets with it.
yeah, because there's like a 50-50 chance that they're born either male or female. So that
Yeah.
means logically that if there's
Like the half is dead.
yeah, half of them are already dead. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Would you agree with that?
No, I don't. I don't agree with that.
Okay. So, but and if we touch the dairy industry, cows produce milk to feed their babies, right?
Yeah.
So, do you think, in order to get pregnant, do you think they get pregnant when they want to, or do you think farmers get them pregnant?
But the farmers get them pregnant.
Yeah. If we did that to a human being, would that be okay?
Well, they can. They want to be pregnant. Just leave them be pregnant, and
Yeah.
if they don't want to, just leave them.
Like
Exactly.
you could also say like, would you like it if a cow would come to you and make you pregnant and then kill your baby and
take
take
your
away your
baby
milk?
away. Yeah,
Oh,
to
you know,
eat
they
it.
take away the babies, yeah.
That's
and then,
not fair. And then the baby have to drink milk, but the baby have to drink water, but the baby have to drink the milk, and
Yeah.
it's good for the baby.
yeah, and
It's
you're
just
right
water.
that they take them away so that they
Yeah.
don't drink the milk. If they're born male, they kill them because they don't produce milk. And if they're born female, just like their mothers, every year, repeated impregnation.
Well, that's
And-
not fair.
Yeah, and do you know when they kill them?
How they kill them?
Do you know when they kill them?
By just when they're born.
No, I mean the women when they kill them.
Oh, when they don't produce eggs anymore.
Well, for cows, yeah.
Cows.
Yeah.
I don't really know actually.
When they can no longer get them pregnant. So if the farmers tries to get them pregnant, if they don't get pregnant, then they kill them.
Oh.
Yeah. That usually happens around 6 to 8 repeated
And everyone
impregnations.
eats old cow.
Say it again?
And everyone eats old cow.
Yeah, exactly. And
That's-
they can live 24, 25 years. So a third of their lifespan is spent just doing this happening to them.
That's bad.
It's bad, right? So would you say, is there really any difference between farming animals for dairy products or farming them for meat?
What do you mean?
Like, because you say you don't want animals to be killed or to
Yeah.
be dead, but I'm assuming that's because you consider them as individuals who deserve to live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they get treated as individuals in farming them for milk?
Well, I don't really get it.
No, let me put it this way. Do you think that farmers consider what the cows want when they produce milk, when they want them to produce milk?
Do we think about what the cows want?
No, we don't.
No, we
No,
don't.
we don't. No, we don't. But we should, right?
Yeah, we should.
Yeah. So then let me ask you this, because you said you're vegetarian.
Yeah.
But then when you consume dairy products, do you think that you're being just as unfair to the animals as a person who would be consuming meat is?
Yeah, it is not good that we do that, but it's just like, it's what everyone say. It's nice to eat, and the vegan cheese is just bad.
And they're already dead.
Yeah, that's what they say, but we don't think like that. But
But even if they're already dead, you know, like when we buy another
Yeah,
animal
but
product,
the thing is,
another
if
animal gets
they're
burned. That's
dead
unfair.
already, that's true. But if no one eat meat anymore, then they're not
They
gonna
don't-
kill them
yeah.
because it makes
Exactly.
no sense. Because
Yeah.
no one is gonna buy them.
And-
so that's the thing.
And it's the same with dairy, right? If nobody buys dairy products anymore, they're not going to bring them to existence, only
Yeah.
to exploit them and kill them.
Yeah. So actually, it's better to keep like chickens, and they make eggs, and then you eat that. And then if
Or
the,
to be vegan,
yeah, or to be vegan. Yeah.
right? Because at the end of the day, do you think animals are here for us or they're here with us?
They're with us, of course.
Yeah. But when we see them as egg-laying machines or milk-making machines,
But they're not machines. They're animals like us.
yeah, they are. But when we're buying animal products, we are seeing them as machines because that's how farmers treat them. They
Yeah.
treat them
Yeah.
like machines.
Well, that's bad.
Yeah, that is bad indeed. So do you see it as important then that you go vegan then?
Yeah, it is. You
You're
think
still
like
eating cheese.
one person will make the change, but if everyone get vegan, then
It does make a
change.
difference.
Yeah, it does.
But even one person can save up to between 100 and 300 animals per year.
Yeah, that's very
And
much.
that's a lot. Yeah, I'm assuming since you're vegetarian, it might be less. But even if it's just one animal, you know, to them it's their whole life. To you, it's what 5 minutes of you eating some cheese,
Yeah,
then you forget
exactly.
about it and you move on, right?
So it's bad.
Yeah,
it's bad.
it
and
is
to
bad.
stop.
Yeah, and I'll ask you this one hard question. It's a hard question,
Mm-hmm.
okay? How many more animals should be exploited for you until you make a change?
How much animals
Should be used or treated like products until you change?
by day?
How many more before you go vegan?
Exactly.
How many more have to die before
I am
you go
already vegan. No one.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
It's difficult, huh?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
It's a hard
So
question.
get
Yeah.
vegan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just get vegan. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Exactly.
Are
So
you
the
vegan?
I am vegan, yes. The reason why I pose this question is because a lot of the times when we see the products in the supermarket, we disconnect from what the animals go through.
Yeah.
But
If you know what a hot dog is, you're not gonna eat it.
Yeah, if
Exactly.
you tell them that that it's meat and it's like baby animals that you're eating, well, people will stop. Sure.
Sure.
If they
They
don't want
know
to think
where-
about it, they want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't.
But
want
also
to
ask yourself why you don't want to think about it, because at the end of the day, you're in the same position, aren't you? Because
Yeah.
baby animals are killed because you
You're
pay for
getting
their
sad
products.
of it, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me give you a card before you go. That's it. I don't want to keep you for too long. I think you kind of got the point, and you know, I never with kids. It's always a little bit the conversations go. I'm trying to be a little bit nicer. Watch the most important speech you'll ever hear. You'll enjoy it. It's not gruesome content or anything. You also have my YouTube channel there, and you can watch yourselves afterwards. Okay? Cool.
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
Cheers. Have a nice for being vegan. What's your name?
Dorian.
Dorian. Amazing vegan.
Meander.
You have to go vegan, and you also have to go vegan.
Yeah,
What's your name?
Jonas.
Jonas.
Nice to meet you.
It's awesome that you guys are vegetarian, but let's go vegan.
Yeah.
We need
Yes.
no
We'll
more
try.
animal exploitation, okay?
Good luck with your channel.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Good luck.
Bye. Man, VPM, thank you. Man, that kid, that guy, Dorian was his name. Amazing to be so young and to be vegan in a family of vegetarians. That is pretty fucking awesome. That is pretty based on in my worldview. I think, like, we meet adults, we meet all these people who complain and bitch and say they cannot do it, and then you see this little guy. I don't even know how old he was. I should have asked how old he was. Who was vegan and he's being awesome in a family who's vegetarian, in a family where he probably gets temptations, but he understood it and he said he's vegan. It's fucking awesome, man. It's fucking awesome. I love hearing that. And even if the family was vegetarian, no, it's not the same thing. Vegetarians still exploit animals, still see animals as products, and I think they got the point. Still a good thing. Still in a good direction. So, yeah. Hey, UK Night Rider, nice to see you here. I'll do a sunburn competition against a vegan any day, says AOT. AOT, do you think that your diet can impact radiation poisoning somehow? You know, I feel like sunburn is because of, it's essentially skin radiation poisoning. It's essentially your response from your skin trying to handle all that radiation. Yeah, and David, well put. That father is so amazing for letting his children hear this discussion, not pulling them away. Yeah, I agree. Hey, Jennifer, nice to see you here. AOT says proof is in the pudding. No, AOT, that is not true. Proof is not in the pudding. Because you know what? You may select a vegan person who is dark-skinned and a vegan person who is white-skinned, and you will have completely different results on how fast or how easy they burn their skin. So no, let's go by scientific methodology. Let's go by empirical data. Let's not go by these ridiculous claims, okay? I trust empirical data more than I trust the anecdotal data because, you know, we're about scientific approach here. We're about critical thinking. AOT says, I did it with myself. Exactly, thank you for proving my point. That is just an anecdote. Hi.
You're doing a social experiment?
Yeah. Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
Sure.
What's your name?
Iman.
Iman?
Iman.
Where are you from?
I'm French.
French. Okay, I'm Chip. Nice to meet you, Iman.
Nice to meet you.
So, let me ask you, Iman, how do you feel about animals?
I feel good about animals. I like animals.
Do
I have
you
a cat.
You have a cat?
Yeah.
Love it. What's their name?
Charlie.
Charlie?
Charlie. Your French name also, sorry.
Is it like Charlie but Charlie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. that's a good pronunciation. Okay. Can you tell me something about Charlie or Charlie?
He's not really a cat. He's more like a dog because he is very clumsy.
So he obviously has a slightly different personality than other cats do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say that, like, how do you see Charlie? Do you see him as an individual, or as a member of the family, or do you see him as an object?
I see him as a member of my family.
As a member of the family. Okay, I appreciate that. Do you think that behind those eyes, behind Charlie's eyes, there's a someone who wants to live, who wants to think, who wants to emote, who wants to, you know, do what they
That
want
was
to do?
actually a big debate in my family because my little sister and my stepmom strongly believe in animal rights. I don't know, but we have this debate like a lot in my family.
Okay, and that's the here I am, an animal rights activist, meeting you right now and asking you. Okay, well, you say you have this debate with your family about animal rights. So let me ask you this: do you think animals deserve moral consideration? And by that, I mean if our actions impact them, then we should consider their well-being.
Yes, I think so. I'm also a law student, international law student, so I'm also studying like legal personality.
Yeah.
And the issue I encounter when I want to advocate for animals' rights is that if you advocate for consciousness, you advocate also for legal personality.
Yeah.
So that means reorganizing an entire system, which currently I don't know if it can move in that way. But I think it would be interesting to like sit down and have this debate because it's really important to have this moral consideration for animals.
Yeah, and aside of the legal side of it, because as you very cleverly pointed out, to change the whole legal system right now would perhaps be a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
But we already know for a fact that these animals do have a consciousness. We have the Declaration of Consciousness, the New York Declaration of Consciousness, and the Cambridge Declaration of Consciousness, who are signed by Nobel laureates who admit that mammals, almost all mammals, and other animals, you can see it, the whole text there, that they're sentient beings, that they have a consciousness and all this, right? So knowing that these are sentient beings, morally, do you think we should be considering their well-being?
Yes, I do think that.
Yeah.
Do you think we should consider them equally to humans?
Well, I don't really care about that, to be honest. I don't think that it is very important. I think, like, just like you probably don't consider me equally to your friend there, right? I don't think it matters if you consider other individuals equally. Like, we all have a value system that we place on individuals.
Okay, so it would depend on like personality-wise and like encounters. So for instance, my cat would be more valuable than a cat I encounter in the street.
Exactly.
But they both have moral consciousness.
Exactly, and
Okay.
both of them have value on their own, because we can acknowledge that both of them don't want to die or be exploited or used by us just because we can, right?
Okay.
So all this brings me to animal agriculture, which is obviously the subject
Yeah.
of discussion when it comes to animal rights. And I'm curious, how do you feel about animals being exploited and slaughtered for products
I
that are
feel
essentially
horrible
optional
about
for
it.
us? Oh, you feel horrible. Okay.
I'm very aware of it because with my family, my stepmom is a vegetarian. My mom is doing the transition right now. My little sister, who's 11, is also going through this transition right now. I'm eating less and less meat, especially since I've moved to the Netherlands. And I feel bad eating meat and exploiting it. And all of the system that goes behind it, I know how horrible it is. I have a big struggle, like intergenerational struggle, with my friend's grandma who tells me I need to eat meat to be healthy. The doctors who are maybe close-minded, and we're not aware enough like what we can put in our diet that would subsidize meat. For instance, like
Lentils?
Lentils. Sorry, I had the French name.
Yeah, that's okay.
And things like that. So yeah, I feel horrible about it.
That's okay. That's okay. Like, I can help you out with that. But before that, I just want to be sure where your values lie, because so you mentioned that some of your family is vegetarian, some of your family is going towards vegetarianism. But did you know that vegetarianism is exactly the same for animals? Like, because for dairy products, for milk, for eggs, animals are just as exploited and just as slaughtered for it, right? You mentioned that the practices in animal agriculture are awful. Do you know the practices for dairy products, for example?
Yeah, I do.
You do? Can you walk me through it? I just want to be sure that you're on the right page. Some people just listen to something else.
A friend of my mom, a very close friend from my family, is vegan and made me watch a horrible documentary, which I don't recall the name, but it
Minion?
was very life-changing, about, I think it was milk and meat.
Okay.
That's it.
Oh, so you have seen that they forcefully inseminated, that they take their babies
Yes.
away and they kill them, yeah. And you feel bad about it. So as far as I understand, your morals are in par with veganism, right?
Yes.
You seem to. So then it's just your actions that are not aligned with your values, right?
I struggle with my actions. Yeah.
Let
I
me
would
ask
say
you
so.
this, just to be clear. When it comes to, let's say I respect women, but then my actions, I go and beat up women, maybe one woman per week, not a lot, just one woman per week. Do I really respect women?
No, you don't.
No, I don't. Exactly. So
Yeah.
what I say doesn't really matter as much as what I do, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, actions are a little bit more important than our value, than
Yes.
what we say our values are. So I'm curious, where is it that you're struggling? Because you said you are struggling a little bit. Is it just your diet? Because I can help you with that.
Thank you. I have health issues that make my diet really hard, and so that needs to be very structured. So I'm struggling on this side. And I think it's also hard to know where I'm stepping on the boundary and where I'm like participating in like animal manipulation, for instance, with like, even if I thrift a lot, even with clothing, or
Clothing also
like
is something, yeah.
yeah, like I feel like every step of my day, technically I don't see it, but I'm possibly going in the wrong way regarding animal rights.
I see what you mean. Yeah. So I think the easiest way to tackle it is just if it's an animal product, then 99.99% chance that that animal was exploited and treated like an object.
Okay.
That's almost always the case. Very rare situations, extremely rare exceptions, you may find something like that. But I went before me going vegan. I searched for those situations, and they're nowhere near easy to find, or
Yeah.
not even here in the Netherlands. So that's just like a rule of law. And yes, it can seem first when you're on this other side, but once you cross it, once you do it for like a while, it becomes habitual, just like everything else in life, and
Okay.
you no longer have to think too much about it. You kind of know what to get, which clothes to buy, and all that kind of stuff, right? You mentioned you have some health issues. Are you comfortable sharing what those are?
No.
No, okay, that's fine, that's fine. I don't want to cross any boundaries there.
No worries. Thank you for
I'm
asking.
actually a certified nutritionist, that's why I asked, and maybe I could have given you some pointers there, but I'll give you some card to help you out. There's not a lot that I can say to you because you already seem to understand the values. It's just your actions that
Yeah.
are lacking there, and I mean, I can't force you to do anything. I can only explain the moral value system, and I can also try to make you understand the urgency of it, right? Because if you're in the shoes of an animal, what would you want the other side to do? Would you want them to say, I'll reduce it, I'll take my time, or would you want them to say, no, stop? If you were just about to be going into a slaughterhouse or stuff
That's
like
quite straightforward. Yes,
Yeah,
I would want
yeah.
to reduce it.
that. Yeah, so in that sense, we got to think of animals as individuals, like how I started the conversation, because while we put numbers on animals and we're like, well, if I'm going to be killing 3 animals this year, it's not as bad if I'm killing 100. It's still 3 individuals. And if I just remove animals and put women, if I'm going to be killing 3 women instead of 100 women, it's not as bad. Sure, but it's still 3 individuals, right?
Yeah.
And I don't mean to make a comparison between women and animals. It's not a thing. It's just the logic of it. Okay, let me give you a card, which will help you out with all this. If you scan this QR code, you have a thing there called Challenge 22. They hook you up with a nutritionist. They send you recipes every day and help you go vegan for free.
Wow.
And they
okay.
also help you out with your health issues. They may put you in a group that has similar health issues and help you with how to adjust your diet properly.
Okay. Well, thank you for this discussion. It was really interesting. Good luck with your social experiments.
Thank you. And
Have a nice day.
thank you, you too. And if you want to watch another video, just watch the most important speech you'll ever hear. It's not gruesome content. It's just a guy holding a
Okay.
speech. And it's kind of interesting because you learn about eggs and kind of what we discussed just now. But it's very straightforward.
Okay. Well,
Okay?
thank you.
Cheers.
Have a nice
Have
day.
a good one. Have a good one. We're getting a lot of people who are aware of the things, huh? Hey, David. By the way, David, I made you a moderator also, David. I'll just ask you. You don't have a responsibility as a moderator to actually moderate. The only thing I ask of you is that you don't abuse the power, as in silence people or time them out, unless it's 100% absolutely needed. I know people who eat meat and talk terrible things, says Tommy. Yeah, that's the thing, huh? Ricky Hearn says Buna. Buna. Hey, the LTN is here. That's cool. Yeah, so I guess today will be a day where we'll get vegetarians. I don't even know. It's insane, huh? We got two times vegetarians today. Open Mind Sunday, says Kuka. Yeah. Don't make me put you on timeout, Chip. Nice, David. Yeah, so there is indeed a documentary that she was mentioning also. It's called Dominion. And I think that if you're not vegan and you kind of want to understand what made us go vegan, it's a documentary like that. I didn't personally see it because I can't see it. I just I saw 5 or 10 minutes of it and I just started bawling my eyes out by the sheer amount of, simply by what we do to animals. It's insane. Like it's hard to describe, hard to say, but it is just insane what we do to animals. So yeah, Dominion is rough. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I couldn't watch it, But if you are consuming animal products, I think you should watch it. And if you can't, then maybe stop and think a little bit that, shit, if I can't even watch this, then perhaps I shouldn't be paying for it. I'm just saying. And I know that the initial instinct of almost for everybody is to say, well, that's not what I'm paying for. That's not always the case or stuff like that. But, you know, you can then do your own research. And that's what I really want people to do. And when you do that, you'll really see that the same shit is everywhere. Hey, Ruben, nice to see you here. How you get your proteins, asks Ricky. I mean, you know, the way I get my proteins is obviously after the gym I have a protein shake like everybody else with protein powder that is vegan. That is one. And later during the day, I add, I don't know, tofu to dishes, tempeh, soy chunks. You know, soy chunks or soy curls, I don't know how they have different terminology everywhere. Or TVP. They're higher in protein per calorie than any meat product. So if protein is your concern, then you should definitely be having those. Especially because you don't need to eat a lot of it. You can just eat a little bit of it, add some sides with it, and that's it. You can also, I also have plant-based meat from time to time. The vegetarian butcher is a really good source because they're literally just soy and spices. And yeah, there's a lot of easy ways. Chip, are you an activist for people moving out of cities? No, I'm not. I don't care if people move in or out of cities. You want to have a conversation with me?
Why?
Do you want to have a conversation with me?
About what?
I'll just ask you some questions, get you to think.
Like what?
Oh, that you'll find out.
Yeah, what about?
Well, you can find out if you do the social experiment.
Yeah, what is the social experiment?
Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
Yeah?
Okay.
So what is it?
It's about animal ethics. How do you feel about animals?
I'm a farmer.
You're a farmer. What
Yeah.
what animals do you farm?
Beef.
Beef. Okay, so do
Are
you
you a vegan?
Yes, I am, yeah. Do you think cows deserve moral consideration?
Well, put it this. Do you think that...
Well, no, please answer my question first.
Yeah, okay.
Do you think cows deserve moral consideration? And by
Yeah,
that,
they do.
Front of your legs.
And can I say this, that every farmer really looks after his animals. Really look after. You know,
Up until they have to be killed, right?
When I get an animal that's, my friend is a farmer, and if I had a cow that was ill, I'd be so upset. I've had one die in my arms.
At what age do you kill them?
I don't kill them.
At what age are they killed?
Oh God, I don't know. I just send them away after a while.
At what age do you send them away? We don't have to go into this whole terminology.
No,
we were adults. We know what
at
happens.
about 2 years.
At about 2 years. And how long can they live?
Well, our cows live till about 20, till they die on the farm.
Yeah, 20.
Until they pass away on the farm.
Yeah, 20, 24.
Yeah.
So wouldn't you say that killing them at 10% of their lifespan is cruel or unjust?
Have you ever watched programs on Africa where you see tigers killing animals and it's so cruel when they kill them and they butcher them and they're still alive and they eat the inside. You know, it's nothing. It's part of nature.
But
I think we are part. You know, with teeth, we are carnivorous as something.
No, we're omnivorous, and we can thrive on a plant-based diet, so it doesn't really matter, right? Because
Well, the whole country.
Well, all the animals,
If you
that
think
eat
now
other.
that all the millions that live in the world, you think all millions that live on the planet can live on a diet of no meat?
Yeah, why wouldn't that happen? But like,
If you're a vegan, do you take supplements? Do you take B12
I take B12.
supplements?
Yeah.
Why? So if nobody made those
But
B12,
do you not supplement your cows with B12?
no.
No, you probably should because B12. Do you know where B12 is coming from?
Well, I B12 is part of meat.
No.
But if-
B12
but
is
if
coming
no-
from a
but- yeah,
bacteria
but-
that's on the
But if
ground.
nobody made those B12 tablets
Yeah.
for you,
Yeah.
you,
So
you,
if
you
nobody,
wouldn't survive.
if nobody were to be exploited in slaughtering animals like you do, others also couldn't survive. It's the same logic. It doesn't really matter. But let me ask you this.
No, it's
Let me
not.
ask you this because
It's-
you mentioned
no,
lions.
no,
You
no,
mentioned
no,
lions.
no,
Let's
you're
go. Let's
wrong,
tackle
you're
all this.
wrong.
Yeah, sure, I'm wrong. You mentioned lions. Okay, so what you're saying is that because lions do it, then we should be allowed to do it.
No,
Correct?
no.
No?
But it is nature.
So who cares if it's nature? In nature, animals kill each other. In nature, animals rape each other. Should we do the same because it is nature? Or what
No.
exactly is this logical argument of saying, well, it's okay to do it because it is nature?
But you're a minority.
That doesn't
Vegans
matter,
are a
yeah.
minority.
Of course, just like 200 years ago, the people who stood up against slavery were a minority. Of
Yes.
course, any
But if you-
injustice
but
in
if-
this
but if-
world...
But if you went back to a point where you went back to a point where you came out of the ice age, you wouldn't be here now.
I wouldn't what?
You wouldn't be here now, because the people who came out of the ice age were
Yeah,
were
but do you
eating
know what being
animals
vegan
to
means?
survive.
Do you know what being vegan means?
What?
It means rejecting animal exploitation as much as it's practicable and possible, right? So if you're in a deserted island
Right.
situation...
Because I know you didn't have farmers in this country.
So if you're in a desert island situation where you would die unless you consume an animal product, I think there would be some form of moral justification that you could form for killing an animal and eating them. Just like there would be some form of moral justification that you could form for eating the flesh of a dead human also, right? In those situations like that, because you value your own life. But in a day-to-day situation where you can thrive on a plant-based diet, where you can go to a supermarket and choose other things, how could we morally justify bringing to life beings who feel, because you're a farmer, you know that they feel,
Yeah.
beings who want to feel love for their kids, for themselves, and then we just take away all of this for a sandwich or for something that takes 10 minutes out of our time. A whole life for them, 10 minutes for us. How is that morally
I
justified?
think
somewhere
we're
now.
going to be severe.
Yeah.
But I think you're wrong.
I'm
Anyway,
wrong,
nice to meet
but you can't verbalize how I'm wrong. You just think you're wrong. Of course, because you want to continue doing what you're doing. It's a form of justifying it.
But the minority will tell you that you're wrong.
Well, no, the minority doesn't tell me that I'm wrong. Just like, again, the people who stood up against slavery were a minority 200 years ago. That doesn't mean that they were wrong, does it?
No.
Goodbye.
You guys want to try a social experiment?
Yes, maybe.
Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
Hello,
What's your name?
Sergey.
Sergey, can you come a little bit so that you're...
Yes, yes,
love it.
yes.
So, Sergey, we're talking about animal ethics. How do you feel about animals?
I love animals. I have dogs. I love dogs. Texas, little, brown little dogs.
Okay. Why do you love dogs?
Because dogs, as it people usually say, dog is the best friend of human. That's why. Because dog is more emotional. For example, cat. I don't understand what he's thinking about I'm looking on his face, I don't understand his emotions. But when I look at dog's face, I at once understand what dog is feeling, if he's angry or is he happy.
And you touched upon it. Dogs feel, they emote. Do you think that behind those eyes, behind the eyes of a dog, there's a somebody?
Maybe they have dog soul, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, like I'm just mean to ask you if there's a somebody, as in there's an individual who has a personality, who has a will to live, who wants to do things the way they want to do things.
No, I don't. I disagree with you because I'm confident that humans are higher than animals.
But I never asked you about humans being higher than animals. I merely ask you if animals are individuals who want to think, live, and emote.
Yes, we have to protect them.
So are animals individuals who want to think, emote, and live?
No, we can't compare them with
I never
human.
compare them.
No.
Animals.
They
Can
feel
they-
like
I
animals.
know, I will go
They
through this
feel like
question until you
animals.
answer.
Yeah.
Are animals able to emote? Do they want to live? And do they have personalities?
They want to live. They're emotional, but I don't think that they have personality.
You don't think that they have personality. So you think that your dog is the same as all other dogs?
It depends on how do you teach your dog, in which conditions your dog is. So the condition.
So you only have one dog?
No, my grandmother has 2 dogs.
So okay, so your grandmother's 2 dogs, they're both identical because they were both taught by the same person.
If you ask it in this way, then I can say that you are right. Yes, every dog is individual.
Yeah, they have personality and is individual.
Yes,
Okay, thank
yes.
you. Okay, so now let's go into the ethics side of it. Okay, you mentioned that humans are more important than animals. I disagree with that. It's very easy for us to say this because we're humans. But if you could ask a dog, are humans more important than dogs? What would you think a dog replies with?
I think dogs' brain won't give you.
If they could.
Dogs live instinctively. They have instincts. They want
They
to
also
eat.
think. They also think.
Yeah. So they're very primitive. They can think very primitive.
Well,
They don't think like a human
are you
because
saying that they lack logic in their thinking?
they have logic. But you know, for example, human they have art. Yeah, you know what is art?
Animals can also create art.
No, they can't understand.
Puffer fish create. Have you ever seen what puffer fish make?
You know, that's because you give food. Fish.
No. Puffer fish. Puffer fish.
Yeah.
You don't give them food. They make a big circle around
Yeah.
with beautiful ornaments to attract mates. They create art
yes,
to attract
because
mates.
this their main instinct to have babies. You know, this is main instinct. You want
Well,
eat.
wouldn't you say it the same about humans? Isn't it the main instinct?
hum-
We all do everything because we want to eat, be loved, or be happy.
This is the main difference between animals and humans because we can make art not for feeling, or not for food or something like that. But animals, they have.
But animals also make art out of nothing. Did you know that pigs bring flowers to their house to decorate their house?
I haven't heard about this. Really.
Yeah, you can look it up. You don't have to trust me on this, but they do that. They
Maybe.
literally go on the fields, bring flowers. Of course, if they're allowed to, because if they're kept inside all year long, they're not going to be able to do that.
Yes.
But if a pig is in a happy setting, they're going to be going outside, picking flowers, and bringing back to their house to decorate their house.
Maybe,
Isn't that
maybe.
not a form of art? Isn't decoration a form of art?
Maybe, who knows? We don't know the motive. We don't know why he's exactly doing this.
And yet again, like from the perspective of an animal, their species matters to them just as much as your species matters to you, right? So you think humans are more important than animals
Yes.
because they're more important to you. Just like animals are more important to an animal, their species would be more important than humans because they're more important to them. So let me ask you this:
Yes.
Do you think it's okay to exploit and slaughter animals?
Exploit? It depends on situation. For example, if you live outside city, yeah, you are very poor, and then you exploit animals.
So it's okay to bring to life dogs for the sole purpose of killing them and eating them afterwards.
It's a very difficult question. I have asked Chinese nationality people what they think about this.
I'm curious what you think about it.
You know, it's difficult. No, for me, dog, it's a friend.
So that's the label that you put on the dog.
It's a friend, yes.
Okay.
It's the best. From animals, it's a number one.
Okay, so
So-
that's the value that you put on dogs.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No.
And I assume that all the other animals like cows, chickens, and pigs,
Yes.
you label them as objects, as food, as
Yes.
nothing more than objects, correct?
Yes.
Do you think these labels matter? Or do you think what should matter is their individuality?
No.
No, not their individuality, but
No.
labels.
You as a human, you as a master of this animal, if it lives with you, you can make him more personal. But if they live on the farm,
So again, I ask you again because you
Yes.
don't seem to understand
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
If we put labels on individuals, do the labels that we put on individuals matter, or do the individuality of those individuals themselves?
it's very difficult. You know, my English not so good.
Let me put it this way: if I put a label on you,
Yes.
and I say you were born to be killed for food,
Yeah.
and I put a label on you, you were born to be a friend, does it matter, or does it matter, or should it matter what you want to do?
You know, this animal was born only
Please
becau-
answer my question first, and then you can
because
say.
it was your will. It was your will. In other case, this
So if you
animal-
bring somebody to life, you have the
you're responsible.
You're
for,
responsible for them.
Yes, yes.
But does that also give you the right to do whatever you want to them?
If the purpose is we're looking.
Well,
is
the purpose you
is.
give the purpose. You make the purpose. It's not if the
Yes,
purpose is.
yes.
There's no objective purpose. The purpose is very much subjective. If you bring an animal to life, you assign purpose to them.
Yes.
If you bring a human to life, you assign purpose to them. Is it fair for that animal, that human, to do something else outside of that
repeat,
purpose?
once more that I am confident that you can't put animals and humans on one level.
Why not?
No,
Why not?
no. Human being, only God is higher than human. Yeah, than human. And
Why?
animal-
Why? Humans are animals, by the way. We're mammals. But let me ask you this: since you think we're so different, I'll ask you, what is the difference that justifies killing one but not the other for something that is optional for you?
repeat once more.
Yeah. So what do human beings have that animals do not have
Ah,
that makes it okay to kill an animal but not a human?
uh, maybe because we are stronger.
So
We are smarter.
So if we find a human being that is as weak as an animal or as stupid as an animal as you, in your worldview, with the cognitive abilities as an animal, because animals are not really stupid, but with the cognitive abilities of an animal,
We
then it would be okay to kill that human being.
humans will live in community. We
Animals
are
do that
social beings. We are social
Animals
beings.
are that too.
It's another social structure.
Why? What's the difference? We keep asking the difference. I'll ask you again. What's the difference between their social structure and ours? Then?
Because we are superior. We are.
How are we superior? Please explain.
With our brains first.
So if we find a human being who has the cognitive abilities of an animal, an intellectually challenged human being, then it's okay to exploit and slaughter them because they are not superior.
No, because this is human. This is our. How to say? It's our society. No.
But it's clear that to me that I'm intellectually superior to you because I understand the logic of this.
Yes.
Should I have the right to do whatever I want to you? Should I have the right to kill you now because I have intellectual superiority?
We are superior. We are smarter, and we have.
So if somebody is smarter than you, they should have the right to kill you
No.
because they're smarter than you.
No.
Wait, why not? That's the logic that you're applying. Because we're smarter than them, we can kill them.
No. We humans, all humans are equal. They have equal rights.
Why?
Yes.
Just because they're born human?
Because they are superior, they are smarter, and they.
Well, you keep saying they're superior, but you can't
You
prove their
know,
superiority.
evolution.
You keep saying they're smarter, and yet I tell you that some
By-
human beings are not smarter.
By evolution, Darwin theory, we are on the first place.
We are on the first place of what? So let me ask you this then: do you think that
In
becau-
nature, in
do you think?
nature.
Well, first of all, we're not. But like in a trophic chain, we're not the first place. But let me ask you this: if you think we have power over animals, does that
Yes.
give you the right to do whatever you want to an animal
Yes.
because you have power over them?
Yes, we have.
So if I have power over you, then I have the right to do whatever I want to you because I have power over you.
No, but because you are human, I am human. We
Okay,
have
so why,
equal
why, why,
rights.
what if I'm not human?
In this,
What if I'm a Neanderthal?
then I would defend myself.
So then you would defend yourself. But if you
Yes.
couldn't, you would find it extremely moral
That-
and logical for me to kill you, since you anyway
No,
apply
I
that
would
logic
call
to
for
everyone else.
I would call for help.
Let's assume you couldn't.
No.
You're in a situation where I could easily overpower you, I could easily exploit you and kill
if
you.
you're an animal, yes.
Yeah. Well, we're both animals first of all.
Would be
But if
your will.
if I were to be a different species than you, then
Yeah.
you would find that logically okay to do for me to do to you, just because I'm a different species than you.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And you want to live by this logic because do you
Yes.
understand that species
Yes.
is an arbitrary line, right?
Yes.
Is there any logic to speciesism, to discriminating based on species?
I think there's no discrimination.
No, why you are discriminating because obviously if a dog is born a dog, you think they deserve love, but if a cow is born a cow, you think they deserve a knife through the throat.
Yeah. The purpose of cow is to make my life better.
Well, no, the purpose of a cow for me is to eat your ass. Does that mean that the cow should eat your ass?
No.
No? Well,
No.
why not? I give them that purpose.
Because it's my will to give life to this cow or to this dog. It's my will. In other
And it's my will to give life to this cow so that they can then hit you with their horns or whatever. Does that make it right? I'm just trying to understand because you see, you fail to have any logical thing. You claim intellectual superiority over animals,
Yes.
yet you have no logical base to stand on. So you move about life on instincts just like animals do, and you claim intellectual superiority over animals.
Maybe.
I mean, clearly.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I won't argue with you. Okay.
So you agree that you are the same, they have the same intellectual capacity of an animal?
No.
No? Just that you can communicate, that's it. You don't seem to understand this logic, do you? You don't seem to understand the differentiation between do you think discriminating based on race is okay?
No.
Do you think discriminating based on hair color is okay?
No.
Do you think discriminating based on height is okay?
No.
Do you think discriminating based on species is okay?
On species, yes.
Yes. Yeah, so you see? An arbitrary line.
Yes.
That
because
makes why?
no discrimination between human.
Why? That's exactly what a racist could say. No discrimination between white people. Right? That's exactly what the racist could say. You see, you have exactly the same logic. Can you explain why species would be a logical way to have to discriminate on?
Because due to Darwin theory, we are
No,
higher.
Darwin never said that. Darwin just said we all evolved, just like animals evolved. Darwin never claimed superiority of certain animals over other animals.
We live in the world where right who is stronger that has a right to decide what to do, you know.
And you think that is moral to do so? You think that if somebody has power, they should be able to decide everything for your life?
Unfortunately, it's a rule which works.
And you think that is moral to do so?
I don't think I don't no maybe no no. It would be good to find consensus in all questions. Yeah.
But you're highly inconsistent, aren't you?
No.
So you're saying that if somebody has power over you, they shouldn't have the right to decide for your life. But if you have power over an animal, you should be able to decide for their own life. For the sheer fact that they're born a different species. Yet if I was born a different species and I had power over you, you seem to still think that it would not be okay for me to decide for your own life. So you see there is no logical consistency there?
Okay, maybe we can end our conversation then, or maybe have other questions.
Well, I think we've already approached an end where you claim, as I said, moral superiority. You claim intellectual superiority to animals, yet you behave on instinct.
Yes.
You seem to think that we as humans have some form of reason why we should not exploit and kill each other, but we can do it to other animals. But the minute a human being is no longer, well, all animals, by the way, but the minute a human being is no longer a human, then regardless if they look like a human, behave like a human, if they're not the species human, and that means that they cannot safely reproduce and produce fertile offspring with another human being, then that means you can cut their throat and put them in a sandwich, because that's what you're saying. It doesn't really matter that you can choose something else. What you're saying is that it's okay to do so.
We have to if the human being is in bad situation, yeah, we don't
Not in a bad situation.
have to cut his
In
throat.
exactly the same situation that you would find an animal. You bring them to life for the sole purpose of exploiting and killing them. Does that sit right by you to bring individuals to life just so that you can exploit them? So that you can use them for your own benefit? Doesn't really matter if they want to do it. Doesn't matter
not
if it
for
hurts
my
them.
own, for society benefit.
For society's
yeah,
benefit.
For society, we
Yeah.
live in society.
Okay, so let me ask you this then, because if I were to convince you, and I have empirical evidence for this, that if society were to go vegan, it would actually be better for society, then would you agree that then you should go vegan and try to convince everybody else to go vegan, since you care about society so much?
Difficult question. You know, humans have to eat meat.
So
because-
we come back to the same illogical thing. If we come back to the same lack of logic.
But if it would be some kind of law, you know, that we don't eat meat, then I would have to.
If somebody forced you to respect animals, you will respect animals. I
will
understand
respect
that.
the law. You know.
Yeah, you will respect the law, not even animals. So if somebody is forcing you to respect the law, you would respect the law.
Yeah, maybe in case there will be equal rights for animals and humans by the law.
Nobody said equal rights. I
Yeah.
just said body autonomy. Do you know what body autonomy is?
Body autonomy.
It's the right to decide what they want to do with their own body.
Oh.
Shouldn't everybody have that basic right, the right to decide what they want to do with their body? Since they're born in that body, since they live with that body, since they feel everything that that body feels?
Yeah.
Yeah. So shouldn't animals have body autonomy? Shouldn't animals be
We
allowed?
should kill them in fast way, you know.
Is that giving them body autonomy by
That
killing
would
them in a
give
fast
them
way?
no suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to do this.
And that would be okay to do to a human being also, right?
No.
Or to a dog. We kill them in the fastest way possible. To a dog, there you go.
No, we don't kill dogs.
Yeah, but you see the logical inconsistency again. You were just brought up to think that some
We-
animals deserve
we
moral
kill-
consideration and some
We kill
don't.
animals only for meat, for food, only for
We
food.
kill animals for a lot of reasons,
For
man.
food.
No, we kill them for clothing, we kill them for entertainment, we kill them for a fuck ton of reasons.
And
We disrespect animals in
you
all
as
sorts
a
of ways.
consumer, you can decide buy or not to buy meat and these clothes. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
your
you can choose
choice.
whether animals to be exploited and slaughtered for you or not, yes.
If for, if a person is suffering, I think that he can exploit animals if he's suffering. For example, if you're very poor and
So
lives-
if I'm suffering, but I have power over you, I should be able to exploit you. Because I'm suffering,
no,
after all.
because we are human. No exploiting between human. No,
Why?
no.
Again, no exploiting between white people. Same logic. There's no logic. It's just an arbitrary line. You just chose something from their DNA. So they chose race, you chose species, and you arbitrarily say, well, there you go. Do you think that the people who were racist didn't want to perpetuate their own race? They did. Do you think that the people don't want to perpetuate their own species? They do. Should that mean you should discriminate based on race or species? No.
Okay, I understand.
Okay, I'm just gonna give you a card because this discussion is going nowhere. I recommend you watch the discussion back again and see where your logical inconsistencies are failing. Okay.
Okay, thank
Okay. Cheers. Have a good one. Wow. And by the way, since everybody is here, wow, wow, complete lack of logic, complete lack of logical thinking. I'm sorry, my man. You need to do better. VPN says that was painful. Yeah. Congrats, Dracolome. I think you were the first to drop the first comment last time. And congrats, Lewis. I think you were very close. Second. I think by 2 seconds specifically. Somebody asked me if I'm religious. No. I'm not. I'm actually an anti-theist. I believe that religion is detrimental to society. We're gonna be moving a little bit because we're in the sun and I'd rather sit in the shade today. The animals that are bred in farms are born to be meat in those farms. Do you agree that they're made for food? No dungeons. Of course, I agree that they're made for food. I don't agree that that is moral to bring somebody into existence so that you can exploit and kill them for optional food. No, I don't believe that it is a moral position. I agree that it does happen. Yes, that does. That is exactly what happens. That is exactly the reason why. And by the way, no. Let me correct you because in most farms, the reason why animals are brought into existence and slaughtered is not for food, but for money. Keep that in mind. It's not for food. Farmers, a lot of the farmers, they don't do it for food, they do it for money. It's a big difference there, first of all. Second of all, even if it was for food, it was for optional food. And no, that is not moral in my book. What is your opinion on hunting animals that are overpopulated with no natural predators that would otherwise starve to death? Toxic hazard. You know, toxic hazard, couldn't you logically apply the same argument to humans? We are overpopulating the planet and there's humans on this planet who starve to death because of overpopulation. Just saying, what gives us the right to address that? I don't think we have any right to involve ourselves in ecosystems. We've already done that before and it has not panned out well. I think we should just let ecosystems reach equilibrium without our interference. Some people see some animals as pets and some as food. Is that a contradiction? Asks David. Well, it's not a contradiction, no. It's exactly the same thing. You see them as a purpose to you, right? When you see animals as merely a purpose to you and not as individuals on their own, then you are doing exactly that. You're objectifying the animals. If you see an animal as a pet, you see them as a being who will give you satisfaction. If you see them as a being who you can cut their throat and use them for food, then you are seeing them as a different type of object. But yeah. I live in a farming community, and yes, farmers are all about the cash. They care not about the earth or the migrant workers, says Green Guy Castro. Yeah, that's a sad reality. It's more about money than it is about food. They tell themselves, well, we provide food for the people, but no, they do it for money. And, it's kind of fucked up, in my opinion, to bring to life sentient beings only so that you can exploit and kill them because you're making money out of it. That's not what my morals say. Leaving invasive species will be incredibly detrimental to the ecosystem, says some guy the fifth. So we should be killing humans, that's what you're saying, because we are incredibly detrimental to ecosystems and we are monumentally more invasive than any other animal. I think we can control ecosystems if you really want to go down that route and you want to find a way where you can, where let's say we have a little bit of a responsibility because we've destabilized these ecosystems and we want to try to help them stabilize again. And if you think we have that responsibility and you think we should do something about it, I don't think we should do something. When I say we should do something about it, I don't think that something should involve us killing them, because that would be highly immoral. It should involve us, I don't know, I have no expertise, knowledge on this topic, but I'm sure there's other ways other than just killing them. Like, why does intelligence dictate rights to exist? Very good question. It doesn't. Everybody should have the right to exist. And not just that, if they exist, everybody should have a right to an existence free of exploitation. Some guy the fifth says, if you consider all animals' lives are equal, you would know that leaving invasive species would cause more harm than good. And as I mentioned, if you have a solution without killing them, then that would be moral. Do you understand the sheer fact that, let me put it this way, if I were to tell you that, like, you can't, the ends don't justify the means. You understand that, right? We can't do horrible things to justify good things. We cannot. Killing innocent animals to justify doing something good is not justified. We can't kill and be violent just so that we think it's better off in the end. No, that's not something we should do, okay? We should always aim for the best methods possible. We should always aim for the more moral aspects of it. Somebody said, tell the animals to build guns and protect themselves then. Oh, Zach, I'm sure, because you can build a gun, huh? Zach, is that it? Because if you only had the minerals and the materials that the earth has, you could easily make a gun yourself. Come on, man. Talk about privilege. Some guy the fifth, but that's just wishful thinking. Sometimes we need to make hard choices. Listen, I explicitly made it clear I don't have enough knowledge on the topic to mention what the solutions are. I'm sure there are other solutions. I don't think the only solution is to kill individuals. And if the only solution is to kill individuals, then what makes you think that killing those individuals life is worth less than the individual's life that you claim you are saving? That's why the ends don't justify the means, because you cannot possibly think that it doesn't really matter. Even killing one person to save 100 does not make sense. It's still immoral in my book. The ends don't justify the means. And if you think otherwise, then you would be in line with a lot of ideologies that have caused the absolutely worst atrocities humankind has done.
No, it's not with them. I will come talk to you.
No, that's okay. She said if she was not with him, she would come talk to me. You wanna try a social experiment?
Hey, hello. Yes.
Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
Yes.
What's your name?
Hey, hello. I'm Jose. Nice to meet you.
Say it again.
Jose,
Jose, where are you from?
Venezuela.
Venezuela. Love it. Okay, Jose. I'm gonna ask you. Wait, how good is your English? Is your English good?
Yeah, yes, of course.
Okay, so let me ask you. How do you feel?
Where are you from?
I'm originally from Romania, but I live here in the Netherlands.
Okay.
So let me ask you. What do you think about oppression?
Oppression?
Oppression. That means
Oppression.
cruel or unjust treatment.
That's really bad, actually. I study political science. I'm from Venezuela. We have a horrible dictatorship over there. So yeah, oppression is really, really bad
And
for all humanity in general.
And just to be clear, I'm not talking necessarily about oppressing massive populations. I'm merely talking about an individual who has the power to oppress another individual.
Yes?
Should they be allowed? Should they have the right to oppress them?
No.
No. Okay. And by that I mean to be
Every
cruel and unjust.
every human right person deserves to be respected.
Okay. So let me ask you: what if this individual does not realize that they're oppressed? Would oppressing them make it right?
No.
Because they don't realize they're
They are
oppressed.
playing with them. They are playing with their minds.
Okay. What if they're intellectually challenged or physically inferior? What if they're intellectually inferior or physically
No.
inferior?
In any way, you cannot oppress anybody.
Okay. So then, do you think we should discriminate whether to oppress somebody or not based on phenotypes, like the color of their skin, the way they walk?
No, that's horrible.
That's horrible. Okay.
Yes,
I agree.
indeed. But sadly, here in Europe, that happens a lot.
We know it happens. We know
It's a horrible thing to see that even living during this century, people think better just because they are white or blonde, which is bullshit. We are all from the same planet. We don't have any other planets. It's just one planet. Doesn't matter if you're black, if you're white, if you're yellow, whatever you are.
And now here comes the difficult question: should we discriminate based on species? And by that I mean, should we be oppressing animals?
No, also no.
No, right? So we shouldn't be
They are
cruel or
also
unjust to
living
animals.
creatures.
Exactly. So then, let me tell you this: do you think that? Are you vegan?
No.
No. So then, do you think that you are actively participating in a system that discriminates based on species, that
Yeah, probably I
that
am.
oppresses animals?
Yes.
Yeah. So then, doesn't that go direct? Isn't that a direct contradiction with your values?
Yes, it is. But, I think it's like a hard process to start. You cannot switch the way you eat just like this. I think we need to be more conscious about it, and we need more education about it, because usually people relate to vegan food like non-tasty or, like this kind of things, which makes a little bit more difficult, to approach.
Let me ask you this:
I think, we need better publicity about it.
if we were to apply the exact same justification for a different injustice, like let's say racism, would you find it okay? If somebody was a racist, acknowledges that it's bad, and then says, well, I need to be informed, I don't know how to stop being a racist.
Yeah, it sounds very hypocritical.
Yeah.
But I think there are also two different things in somehow.
Well, one is discrimination based on race, and one is
because-
discrimination based on species.
Yeah, exactly. But still, we are human race, so we can think.
So if we find humans who cannot think,
Huh? There is a lot of people who cannot think.
Yeah. So then,
As politicians.
fair enough. So then this qualifier, so then this qualifier that we can think should not change the way we discriminate, right? Just because because some of us can think, doesn't mean that we should discriminate based on our capacity to think or not. Right?
Yeah, I know, but yeah, I think, like I told you, we need more education so we can step little by little
Yeah.
changing the new generation's mind. So probably in the future they will be more open to be or to choose vegan stuff.
How do you feel about veganism? Are you open to being vegan?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Definitely, that's something I would like to try.
Yeah, that's something you would like to try. Okay, I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Okay, let me ask you this. What do you think being vegan means?
Like eating non-animal products.
Uh,
Because there's something is being vegetarian
Yeah.
and something is being vegan.
Yeah,
So,
so
vegan is like you have to cut everything about it.
So vegetarian is a diet?
No, I think it's also like choose of lifestyle. You know, some people are
Vegetarianism-
vegetarians, some people are vegans.
Well, they're all vegetarianism is a diet, veganism is a
Like
moral
movement.
position.
Okay.
It's literally saying I want to respect animals or I disagree with exploitation of animals.
Okay.
And obviously, as a consequence, you're not going to consume their flesh. You're not going to be exploiting them for their milk. You're not going to be putting them in battery farms and all this kind of stuff for
Yeah.
eggs and all this kind of stuff, right? Or wearing their skin also, you know, like wearing leather
fur
or
or something like that.
going to zoos where they're kept in tight places just so that we can have some entertainment and see them, right?
Yep.
Do you agree with this moral position that animals deserve to live free of human exploitation?
Yes, definitely. But now we have also to consider global warming.
Yeah.
So some species they need to be in some particular places with scientists so they can help them to reproduce because they are close to the extinction.
Oh, do you mean like species that are like wild species, right?
Yeah, but we have now wild species which they are close to extinction. So I think it's good, you know, some scientists they are trying to reproduce them first, and then when they have like a strong number, they can be out in the nature.
But when we're doing that, we're actually considering their well-being, right?
Yes.
Whereas when we're exploiting them for products like food, like clothing, like
Yeah, but that's
entertainment,
completely different.
We're doing it for our well-being, not for, and we're completely disregarding.
Yeah,
their
but I
well-being.
think that's two different things.
Yeah.
You know, helping to reproduce these species which are close to extinction is something that I see is good.
Yeah,
Because otherwise they will be extinct, and that's it.
yeah, to some extent I agree with you. I think it's a little bit of a morally gray area because we're still kind of disregarding those individuals, and we put them there in that situation.
But of course, you know,
It's-
animals just in the zoo, for instance, they are totally, it's not good, of course.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
it's just for our entertainment.
Yeah, so if we come back to like the sheer idea of using animals for food, for clothing, or for entertainment, knowing that we don't have to do any of this, is there any moral way to justify this? To justify doing it to them?
No.
That like using them for food, for clothing, or for entertainment?
No, but yeah, we have to also, you know, review our past because that's how human beings, you know, have been living. You know, they need.
Should that matter?
animals.
Does that matter if we've been doing something for a long time? Should the moral aspect of it does it change the moral aspect of it?
No, of course not. But I think that's what I told you. We need more education.
Yeah,
More
yeah.
education, better information about it. Because, like I told you, you know, I think it's the media who doesn't like that. So they just focus on, you know, like really bad vegan products. You
Yeah.
know, like you're never going to see like a delicious hamburger. Oh, this is vegan. You know, you only see meat hamburgers and all these things.
Yeah.
So that's why
Yeah,
we need
but-
more education about it, more participation.
But let me put it this way. I kind of brought it up to your attention. I'll give you resources to get more educated. And I'll ask you one question, which is a difficult one. How many more animals should be exploited for you or on your behalf until you change?
No, I don't understand the question.
So, if I give you resources to help you with the change,
Okay.
if I give you resources to help you get informed, going forward from now on, how many more animals should be exploited, slaughtered on your behalf? Or how
Uh,
many more animals are you going to pay to be slaughtered and exploited for you?
Yes, I guess thousands of animals because in this moment actually there are farmers producing milk,
But no, specifically for you.
slaughter. Oh, um, well, for me, maybe less than in the past because, like I told you, I'm trying to move.
So you, in your ideal world, it would be less.
Yes, because for instance, I'm not buying milk anymore, you know. So I guess
Why isn't it zero?
because I have been, you know, my whole life eating and drinking like this way. So it's not, for me at least, for me it's not possible to cut it like this. You know, for maybe for some people are, but not for me. And I think we are not the same. We think completely different. You know, we are completely different. So for some
let me
people
put it
are
this way.
easier, some other people are more difficult.
But do you see it as a moral obligation that you change?
It's not about being moral, you know. It's more about being how can I say that? Maybe respectful for the environment, especially.
For the environment, not for the animals?
Yeah, but the environment is everything because in the trees,
The environment is
trees
secondary.
are part of the environment,
Fair.
and animals live on trees and eat from trees, so it's all connected.
But I'll argue that even you wouldn't put environment first, because if I were to ask you, should we kill half the human population, which would yield better results for the environment, 100%? Should we do that?
Yeah, but actually that already happened with
But should we do
with
that?
coronavirus. How many people died?
Should
during
we?
the-
Should we?
We
kill
already
half-
did.
No, I'm asking you. Should we?
No,
for
but
the in the name
that,
of the environment.
That already
should we-
happened. That already happened with
How
the
did it
coronavirus.
happen?
How many people died?
When?
During the corona crisis. How many people?
Not half the human
7
population.
Yeah, but it was like 7 million of people died.
Fair enough, but like they didn't.
Like this.
Yes, but like you wouldn't consider that we should be killing humans so that we
So
save
that's,
the environment.
You know,
right?
like that already
Should we be
happened.
killing humans? I'm
No,
asking
no,
you.
of
Should we
course
be
not.
killing
Of course
humans
not,
to
because
save the
that
environment?
will be having the same mentality that the Nazis have.
Exactly. So what we're saying is that our moral side needs to come first, and then we tackle the environmental side. Correct?
Yeah, but that sounds very philosophical.
Well, it should be
I'd
philosophical.
studied political science, so I know all this.
But let me ask you this, because
Thems.
now coming back to what you said, right? Let's put another injustice in this world, right?
Okay.
I don't know if you're aware, there's still injustices going on against.
But everything is related, you know, environmental, animals,
Are you? Yeah, that's
human
okay.
beings.
Yeah, are you comfortable sharing your sexuality?
Yes, of course.
Do you want to share it?
Yes. So yeah, but what this means into the
I'll explain, because
Into
I'm,
the
I don't
equation.
I don't want to I don't want to assume. That's why
okay.
I'm by myself. That's why I
Okay.
asked. Are you sort of like
Yeah,
that?
same.
Okay, let me ask you this then, because you know there is a form of discrimination that is happening against people who are not straight, correct?
Yeah.
We know this to happen, and it is an injustice, correct?
Yeah.
And the human being who was born with this injustice in mind, their parents taught them that they should have this injustice, that they should be completely bad towards human beings who are not straight. When we are talking to them, we're telling them, hey, that's not fair to do.
Yeah.
That's not okay to do to humans. They understand the situation, but then they say, I've been doing this my whole life. I'm going to continue being homophobic
Yeah,
for a
exactly.
little bit,
But
and then I'll stop eventually. Is that really the way we should be tackling that injustice?
no, of course not. But now also, you know, the people who in the past they were the victims, now they are the bullies.
What do you mean?
Like, you know, really feminine boys, you know, just because I don't want to dress like them, they just think they can make fun of me, you know, and they say, oh yeah, but you are like this macho toxic, which is bullshit. So I'm like, what the hell we are living now, you know, like I respect you, but now you cannot respect me. So
Yeah, that's weird. But
Yeah.
the reason why I mentioned that, why I made that thing is because discriminating based on somebody's sexual preference or sexual
It's not
orientation
good. Yeah, it's
is
not
not
good.
good.
Yeah.
And if it's brought up to somebody's attention, even if they've been discriminating even if they've been doing that their whole life, the
Yeah.
minute that you bring it up to their attention, they should stop immediately. Correct?
Yeah.
So then when I ask you discriminate, that's one form of injustice. But when it comes to this other injustice, where it's another form of discrimination, it's an injustice where we're oppressing innocent animals,
Yeah.
why is it that you don't think it should be just instant also?
Uh, yeah, but it's like I told you. For me, it's like a process. I'm trying to do my best.
Would you accept this answer from a person who is discriminating based on sexual
Yeah, but it's
orientation
completely
by saying
different
that it's a
because
process?
humans, we have different rules for humans.
Well, that's how you put it, right?
You know?
But let's assume this
Because
human being.
otherwise we can create the International Court of Animals, so they're gonna be the judges and gonna be
Well, no,
the,
because
the,
we
the
don't.
people behind the
Well,
justice.
no. There's differences, right? There's moral agents and moral patients. There's a difference. Animals are moral patients. They're not moral agents, right? Just like children are moral patients, they're not moral agents.
Yeah.
So in that sense, we as humans can decide morality, and when we decide morality, we should consider animals and children and humans morally. But this individual, as you said, they've been doing their whole life. They've been discriminating their whole life, and to them, it's they say the same thing. They say the same thing as you do. Yeah, but straight people are not the same as people with
Yeah,
different
but I
sexual
have been
orientations.
discriminated by
Exactly.
gays now, and I'm like, what the fuck?
I just mean to say that if this individual were to be giving the exact same response as you are right now, that it's a process. I'll stop. I'll just discriminate a little bit from time to time, but eventually I will
No, it's
stop.
not good. It's not.
It's
good.
not good. You would not accept it as an answer because
Yeah.
you would be a victim of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it's
So
because
why
we are
is it that you think-
talking about human beings.
But why is it that you think that if a victim is a different species than human, they should not be considered morally enough to not be discriminated based on like, oh, I'm going to be yelling at you, or I'm going to be mean to you, I'm going to be beat you up, but rather literally exploiting, bringing them to life, killing them, which is pretty fucking horrible things.
Actually, that's a really good question. You know, it's a really good question to think about it.
It's
Now-
a victim is a victim. It doesn't really matter
yeah,
what their
but
species
now
is.
I can, I cannot give you an answer right away because it's the first time I heard that.
Yeah,
which
that's
I
okay.
think is a really nice question, to see or to define better the moralistic area for human beings.
Okay, well, let me give you a card. I think conversation card has kind of reached the ending point then.
How many followers do you have?
Not a lot, like 3,000 something, and
Okay.
yeah. So I urge you to
this is-
watch. Yeah, this is a card. You have my YouTube channel. You can watch the conversation back that we just
Okay.
had, and I urge you to watch. You just gotta scan this QR code, and I urge you to watch either Dominion or the most important speech you'll ever hear. These are the first two things that will appear there. Can you
Okay.
promise me you'll watch that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and
Something-
if you want to go vegan, I hope that you do. There's a thing there called Challenge 22. They hook you up with a nutritionist, send you recipes every day, and help you go vegan for free.
Okay. Thank
Okay?
you so much. Have
Okay,
a good day.
cheers. Have a good one.
Ciao, ciao.
Yeah, it was a conversation. It was a good conversation, I guess. I didn't really. I feel like when I asked him about his sexual orientation, I didn't want to assume. So I didn't want to make unfounded assumptions, and based on that, I really wanted to go down how he feels the oppression and how he would think an animal would feel just as oppressed, but he still had difficulty with that. It's okay. It's okay. That's the thing about this programming that we've been programmed our whole life to believe that we are somehow this master species, this master animal, this animal that we should be able to do anything we want, that we should have ultimate power and everything. I kind of blame religion a little bit for it, but I also blame the way we've been brought up because we seem to think that animals, well, while we say, yeah, we shouldn't be doing anything bad to them, when given the option whether to stop doing something bad to them, if it becomes inconvenient to us, then a lot of us, well, not me, but maybe him and other individuals will say, well, yeah, sure, animals shouldn't be treated badly, shouldn't be done badly things, but this one small bad things, it's okay to do to animals. It's okay because they're animals and we're humans. Like, it's insane, it's an insane position. And if you've been brought up your whole life with this, it's kind of difficult to erase it in one conversation. Might makes right, exactly. Well put, David. Might does not make right. If we aren't supposed to eat animals, then why are they made to taste so good? Wow, term. That's the dumbest thing anybody can say. I don't mean to be a dick to you, but that is a really stupid argument, if that is really an argument. Because you know what? If humans taste good, should we be eating humans? Are we saying that? Maybe humans taste good. Maybe if you cut off the hand of somebody, cook it the nice way, then it tastes good. Come on. I don't think your argument was not a very smart one. Maybe you're a smart person, but the argument was not a smart one. I blame a general desire for undeserved self-worth in systems built on taking advantage of each other, says Moonrise Studios. I blame the general desire for undeserved self-worth in systems built on taking advantage of each other. That's an interesting way of putting it, yeah. Animals are seasoned like plants. Thank you so much, that gay vegan. You are right. Animals are seasoned like plants. Yeah, animals are seasoned with plants. That's the reality. We say they taste good, but then you see all these ridiculous statements of, well, this turkey meat is so dry meat. If you want to eat it, you got to apply all of this difficult cooking. How about we just leave turkeys alone? And while we're at it, it's Easter. How about we just show some love and compassion today? Isn't what Easter is about? Isn't it about, being nice, being compassionate, being fair? How are we being compassionate and fair to animals when we're cutting their throat just because we can? How? Because they taste good, like somebody here says. I don't think we're being compassionate to them when we're doing that. Okay, well, I gotta change again because the sun really wants to have a conversation with me because it keeps following me. Give me 1 second, everybody. We'll be changing yet again, but this time we'll be changing the other way. You'll see it. You will see it. There we are. Can you guys still hear me okay? Term says plants are alive, yet you eat them. Hypocrites! Come on, Term. Man, you just keep coming up with the most ridiculous arguments. Like all of this plants are alive things, it's ridiculous argument. Come on, you can do better than that. Think a little bit. And if you don't trust me, just look up on Google what the plants have feelings plants argument is. Because I'll tell you what, plants don't have feelings. Plants are not sentient. They don't have a subjective experience of the world. And, we gotta eat something at the end of the day. We just don't have to eat sentient beings. We just don't have to exploit and slaughter sentient beings for our food. Just like we don't have to do it for clothing, for entertainment, or any other reason. I'm sure that a lot of you in this chat, if you were asked whether it's okay to exploit and slaughter sentient beings, also known as animals, also known as humans also, for, entertainment, everybody would be like, oh, that's appalling. No, we should not be doing that. It's awful. But then when it comes to optional food, which essentially you choose out of convenience or taste pleasure, which is just another form of pleasure, you seem to think that it's okay to do so. Because that's essentially the real part of it. When it comes to change, if you are the one who needs to change, it's a little bit more difficult to agree with it, right? But I would argue one thing, that if you guys are not vegan who are listening to this, first of all, explore your own values and then think if you want to change or not. Explore your own values without the fear that you might need to change. Just explore your values and leave out the fear of, oh no, I may have to change. Leave it out and explore if that's really how you feel. Oh, give me 1 second, everybody. I'm still arranging this here. Okay. Oh, I also should blow my nose. Should blow my nose. Oh, term, that's so funny. You came up with the next ridiculous argument. Animals eat other animals? Come on, man. Come on. I don't even know. Like, just, do you really think that it's okay to do something because another animal does it? Really? Is that what your values say? You know, I can name a whole lot of things that animals do that you wouldn't do yourself. So, and I'm sure you can also. I don't even have to mention them. You want to try the social experiment? The irony of watching this after my massive Sunday roast sentient being dinner, which was delicious incidentally. Yeah, robots on Mars. The irony of you watching somebody explain to you why animals deserve to live just as much as you do, and you disregarding their individuality completely, and you using a compassionate holiday and a compassionate God to do this in the name of, all of this is extremely ironic if you ask me. It's completely contradictory within your value system. Well, what can I tell you? That's what you want to live by if you want to be a walking contradiction. Lume out, bro. You are being looked at a soy-based bum. Hunter McIntyre says. Oh, and Hunter, you're right. I should care so much about what people think about myself that I should go and cut the throats of innocent animals. Because that's what a good person would do, right? If other people would would think lesser because of them, then you should do horrific things just because other people think lesser of you. No, man.
Good afternoon.
Hello. I have moral values. I'm a principled person. I don't really care what people think about me. I'd rather live my life by my own values, how I am, and have everybody not like me, rather than have everybody like a version of me that I'm projecting out there for other people to see. No, I'd rather be myself and people like me for me. And who doesn't? Who doesn't, they're free to leave. They don't have to be there. Hi, love from Kerala. Hi. I treat animals with respect, but the idea that eating meat makes me a bad person is such a silly idea. Well, believe it or not, it doesn't make you a bad person, but you are doing a bad thing. When you're consuming meat, you're essentially saying that the life of an animal, the whole life of an animal, their whole existence, means nothing, or it means less than your 10 minutes of consumption of an optional product. Something that you may not even feel the difference if you would be choosing a plant-based meat. So yeah, I don't think that's a good thing to do. I think you're completely disregarding the victims of your choices when you could easily choose otherwise. So yeah, I don't think that's a nice thing to do. I'm not saying you're a bad person, but you are doing a bad thing. So what about an animal that dive for things other than food? I guess you follow the same rules as Term. Term, I do follow the same rule. Thank you for asking. If you can choose to not exploit and kill other animals, then you should definitely not do it for whatever reason. It's not, being vegan is not about food. It's about clothing, it's about entertainment, it's about any other situation. If you're in a situation where you can choose to exploit an animal or not exploit an animal, you should always choose to not exploit an animal. It's pretty logical, isn't it? That's pretty easy. Hunter McIntyre says, grow up. Hunter McIntyre, you're the person who said that, well, people don't like you if you're vegan or something along those lines. I think I'm pretty grown up when I told you that I don't really care if people like me or not. I'm gonna live by my own value system and be who I am. And the people who like me should like me for me rather than for the image that I'm projecting out there. Grew up, you're crying for animals, Hunter McIntyre. Yeah, Hunter McIntyre. Animals, humans are animals, I'm crying for sentient beings, beings who have a will to live, who have emotions, who don't want to die. Yeah. I'm respecting them. You guys want to try the social experiment?
Yeah,
Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
that's fine. Hello,
What's your name?
Jalen.
Jalen?
Yeah,
Where are you from?
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Okay. So, Jalen, I'll ask you this. Do you think that the powerful should have the right to oppress the powerless?
Depends.
I can explain it. So oppression means being cruel or unjust. So if a person has power over another person, or if an individual has a power over another individual, do you think they have the right? They should have the right to oppress them?
No.
No. Okay.
If it's unjust.
If it well, that's literally
Yeah.
what oppression means as definition. It means cruel and unjust. So what if this individual that's being oppressed does not realize that they're oppressed? Would it make it okay to oppress them?
Individual, like a person, then it's no.
No. Okay. What if this individual is intellectually inferior or physically inferior? Would oppressing them be okay?
I don't know. Well, we're still talking about people, I think no.
Okay. What if the individual who's oppressing has been doing it their whole life and everybody does it? Would that make it okay?
No.
No. Okay. Okay. And you mentioned if we're talking about people. So this is my next question. Do you think we should be oppressing animals?
What do you mean by like oppressing animals?
Should we be cruel and unjust towards animals?
No, I don't think so.
No, we should not be
Yeah.
cruel and unjust towards animals.
Yeah.
But do you think that when we're farming them, we are being cruel and unjust towards them?
I believe that in some ways, yes. You know, I think that there are like humane ways to like farm and like.
So humane means with benevolence and
Yeah.
compassion. What's a benevolent and compassionate way to bring somebody to life for the sole purpose of you exploiting them and then killing them?
That is a good point. That is a good point. I think, I guess when it comes to like animals, like being raised to be killed, because then I feel like there's animals that are being raised to like not be killed. Also, like I like back home, like I know a lot of people that have like horses, you know, that just go, like they just raise the horses and they're like almost like, I wouldn't say like pets, but like you know on a
Yeah.
similar thing, but or like when it's like cows, like I've seen like I'm not like too well versed in it, but I know that I've seen like documentaries where they like raise the cows and then they kill them because for food, right? But in a inhumane way. But then they've developed like a system to basically kill the cow without like pain for the cow.
How would we know that?
That is true. Like I guess. Oh, I don't know if there's a way that we don't know.
So then, given that we don't need to do any of it to them because we can thrive on plants and plant-based products when it comes to food, we can choose other materials when it comes to clothing. We can choose other sources of entertainment when it comes to, I don't know, going to zoos or stuff like that. How can we morally justify doing any of this?
Yeah, so okay, I'm a religious person. I know like not everyone shares like my beliefs, but like I believe that like in the Bible, because it says, so I'm Christian. In the Bible it says that like all animals are like, or essentially everything has been put on earth for like the betterment of like
Did
people.
you read the original Bible?
Well, translations of it, yeah.
Translations of it,
Yeah.
right? So did you know that one part of the translation is that says Jesus ate fish? It's not actually that Jesus ate fish?
Okay. Well, I was referencing more like a different part of it.
No,
though.
but I'm just
Yeah.
saying the reason why I mentioned this is because, well, you're reading a translation of it, you're trusting everything that it says in it. Is it possible that translation errors or even errors from the people who wrote the Bible, that there might be errors in there?
Yeah, that is true. I feel like for my faith of Christianity, we use like different translations of it. So as much as possible, because the text is like thousands of years old, right? To not like dilute the original message. But then I guess also to your point, that's where like kind of faith comes in. Whereas I said,
faith. And,
yeah.
and let's assume you're in a situation that isn't inherently described by the Bible, right?
Yeah.
How do you go about knowing if it's right or wrong?
Well, what do you mean? Like, give me an example. Like, if it's not like.
I don't know, like a situation which hasn't been described in the Bible. Let me assume. Let me see.
I think that's your own moral compass, then, right? Like,
yeah.
Let's say it's like, you know, that famous like train situations, like save the many, or like the
So
the
you would be
person
using
like.
your own intuition, right? You would be saying this doesn't feel right, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So then, if it's possible that the Bible has errors in it, and if it's possible that animals, well, we know that animals feel pain, that we can choose otherwise. We know that we are literally being oppressive towards them, and we know that God is a compassionate individual, right?
To people, though.
to people. So
To
you
people.
think God is not compassionate towards animals?
So like my personal belief, right? I think that when I say inhumane, like to your point, like raising an animal up to kill them is bad. In the sense where you raise, like, let's say cows, right?
Yeah.
Like if the sole purpose is for them to provide beef or like meat, then I think there's different methods that you can be doing that. Obviously,
But who
I'm
gave
not.
them that purpose? We did, right?
That is true.
So
Yeah.
isn't that a mistake on its own? Bringing to life an animal so that you give them purpose to kill them for
But
something that you don't need.
I guess, yeah, if it's not something like an individual needs, right?
Yeah.
Because if your point is like there are alternatives out there. Yeah.
There are, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then if we don't need it, if we're doing this, if we're recognizing that animals feel pain and they have a subjective experience of the world, shouldn't our intuition say that it is wrong to do this to them then?
Yeah. Like that's the way like they're raised, right? Like if like, if the animal can live like a fulfilled life of, I was just in the UK the other week and they were raising sheep, and they were just grazing, for many years, and then I'd assume that then after years of them like growing up, then they are like killed for. Oh, thanks.
Yeah, go on.
But yeah,
I'm just curious, like, what age do sheep get killed at? Because I don't know myself.
I don't know either.
Yeah, we'll find out together right now because I actually have it written here somewhere. There you go. Oh, it doesn't mention sheep, but I'm sure that it's not more than egg-laying hens or calves.
Yeah, it's
or
probably
dairy
like
cows.
in between cows and calves.
Yeah, so a fraction of their lifespan, huh? A fraction of their lifespan, using them and then killing them when we could always choose something else. Do you think, I don't know, like, because you're using religion, is it really a religious thing that you do it for, or is it?
I mean, I also.
Or are you using it as a justification?
I think it is a justification, more
Yeah.
so. Like, I'm not, whenever I eat like a hamburger, I'm not like, oh, God put this hamburger for me.
Exactly,
It's just, but I mean, I like hamburgers, I think it's also like a preference thing. But I think if, for example, like endangered animals,
Yeah.
right? Like, I am against like humans exploiting endangered animals to the point of extinction,
Because they would no longer exist.
Exactly.
But to the individual animals like this individual goat, right? That has their throat cut. Do you think when we can choose something else, do you think a compassionate God would say do this, or do you think there's any moral way of justifying this for optional food?
Yeah, I think it's preferences,
So do you think there's any moral way to justify a preference for doing this to an animal?
So, because the thing is like for me, right? I see, and I can only give my own opinion on something like this. I guess my moral compass says that's just, I guess, the way it is. But maybe that's just the way I was raised, I guess.
Yeah, but we can think
in
of
our culture.
it is the way it is. We could have said 200 years ago, we could have said that about slavery. It is the way it is, right?
Yeah, but then that's why I said not people, right?
But what is this distinction that you make, not people? Black people who were enslaved were called animals so that they can do whatever they want to them. But like, I just fail to understand. We're all animals eventually. We're mammals. We all have emotions. We all think. We all dream. We all have a subjective experience of the world. So
Okay.
in that sense, us cutting their throat for an optional product should be wrong. Like if this were a dog, would you find it wrong?
For me personally, yeah, because I'm not into the killing of dogs.
So then,
But-
so why is it that you find this right for a sheep, for a goat? I don't even know what they are. I think they're a goat. But you find this right for a
Yeah.
goat, but wrong for a dog.
See, I think, well, just because for me, I think like I don't have like sheep as pets, and like I don't eat dogs. Like I eat sheep though.
But if you think from their perspective, as
Yeah.
individuals that they are, that they think, that they emote.
So like I think also this way of killing the sheep is also not.
I mean,
you know,
they all
not
get
the right
cut.
way.
They all get cut. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's standard practice across the board. They
Yeah,
all
they don't get like so at least in the documentary that I
Yeah,
saw, obviously.
sometimes they do get the bolt gun. Yeah.
Yeah, bolt and then cut, right?
Yeah. Sometimes they do that, but does that make it right? If I do that to a dog, does that make it right?
Well, not a dog. Yeah.
Yeah, but can you
Yeah.
describe to me what the difference is between a dog and a sheep or or a goat that justifies the difference in treatment?
Yeah. Well, I don't believe that like without a bolt killing this like animal would
Yeah.
be like okay, but I just think it's
But with a bowl, killing them and then chopping them into pieces for optional food, it
Yeah.
would be wrong for a dog, but right for a goat.
Well,
What
I
is
guess
the
if,
difference
I guess
between
if the
them?
dog is being like eaten, but I don't eat dogs, so I wouldn't want to do that to a dog.
But you wouldn't want to do that means that something within you is saying that it would be wrong to do to dogs. So I want to understand what exactly is within you saying that why is it that dogs deserve moral consideration? That means that if your actions impact them, we should think of their well-being,
Yeah.
but goats not. Like what is it? What's the difference between them that justifies this difference in view?
I don't know. I think it's just maybe. I hate to use the word like mainstream, right? Because it's like you mentioned, if something's like been going on for several years, doesn't make it like okay. But
So
I don't
there's
know.
no actual logic. It's just you've been taught that way.
Yeah, or like I think it's preferences, right? But I guess it's like
But your preferences are not logical. Their preferences are because you've been taught that way, right? Like the root of your preferences
Yeah.
come from the fact that you've been taught that dogs should be respected, goats not.
Yeah, I think if there was like actual like for example like change to be made like right like if this was like obviously to you it's a really big issue and it's and if there are alternatives, I feel like the way to get like more people on board with something like that would be to not like to show them how good the other options are, like what are like the actual benefits to all that.
So
you
what
know?
you're saying is that we shouldn't really discuss about their individuality and their personality and their moral worth, but rather what benefits you have from not oppressing them. Is it really how we should be tackling oppression? That we should be discussing
Well,
with the
oppression
oppressor
to
what the benefits they get
oppression
from
to
not
animals
oppressing?
though, like it's so into my view, right? It goes like animals and then human beings. Like I don't think human
But to
beings
your
are the same.
also to your view, your friends than me, like we all have a moral value system where we place certain individuals on top and other individuals at the bottom. But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean we get to draw an arbitrary line in the sand and say because you're valued less to me, I get to exploit and kill you. We just recognize that they have value on their own. They value their own life. Do you think an animal values their own life just as much as you value your own life?
I think they value their survival.
Yeah, do you
Right.
think, let me ask you this, do you think a dog values their own life just as much as this goat values their own life?
Probably like any other living thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then that goes back to like my personal belief with my faith, right? Like
But that's
people,
a justification,
animals.
as you say.
Well,
right?
as it says, it's a justification.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Because
but you don't apply also to all animals the same because you said dogs. No, why are
Well,
dogs
for me
treated
though, like
differently?
for example, if a snake was treated like this, I would also think it's not okay because I don't eat snakes. So
Yeah, but you see, you only not you say you give moral consideration to some animals, but other animals which you've been taught to not give moral consideration to, you don't give moral
Yeah.
consideration to. So it's learned behavior.
or behavior because it's a preference, I guess.
Yeah, but
like,
it's a preference coming from
Yeah.
learned behavior. If you were taught your whole life to respect goats, like let's say if somebody is born Muslim, they're not going to eat pigs, are they?
that is, I
So
guess,
they were-
yeah.
it's learned
in like
behavior.
some
They-
areas
they-
of the world, they
Yeah.
have like alternatives and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. So in the same way, you've been taught that to do to these animals, but not other animals.
Yeah.
So now I'm just asking, because you've been taught this way, because if we extrapolate and go back 200 years ago, people were taught that slavery was okay. The same
okay,
reason,
yeah.
right? They were taught this way. Don't you think we should tackle these things? Like obviously this isn't nice to look at. Obviously this isn't nice. All of it is just horrible to all animals, right? Like, and if you were in their shoes, obviously you wouldn't want this to happen to you. So I'm just trying to understand. Like, don't you think you should have a good enough reason to do this to them, other than just you've been taught your whole life, or it's a preference?
Yeah. So what would be like your solution or I guess that you would propose if it is an issue? Like it's an issue, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So obviously, at some point, we do need governmental regulation, but until we get more people to respect animals, that means to be vegan, we cannot get regulation because there's just a few people out there respecting animals, and governments don't do necessarily what is the right thing; they do what is the popular thing, because politicians want to get voted, especially when it's very common acceptance that it's okay to slaughter certain animals, right? So I think you should try to, like when I talk to you, I think that you should try to think a little bit of of the logic behind these choices. You should try and really question your values, because I think if I were to ask you why is it bad to harm a dog, it wouldn't really matter if that dog had value to anybody. You would just not want to harm a dog because you see them as an individual. But when it comes to any other animal, or well, not any other animal, but like the animals that we farm, you don't give them the same right or the same consideration. And I'm just like, they should, right? They're the same as a dog. There's just barely any difference there. Definitely not a difference to justify that, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll just give you a card and.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think like I think if you were to make like a larger scale like change in it, right? I definitely think like raising awareness is good, but I definitely think like actioning on like better vegan, like I don't know, maybe the benefits, like, because if the ultimate goal is to make it more popular, right?
There are benefits for sure. Like
Yeah.
there are benefits for your health. There's benefits for the environment. There's benefits.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest benefit of being vegan is that you're not a hypocrite. You live up to your own values. You're like, I respect animals, and I actually do respect animals. Because if I say I respect women, but once a week I don't know, beat up a woman.
Yeah,
I don't
then
really
it's
respect
not really-
women. Exactly.
Okay.
I just say it.
Well, thank you.
Can you promise me you'll watch either Dominion or the most important speech you'll ever hear? You just gotta scan that QR code.
Sure.
You
Yeah, I'll
have
take
my
a look at
YouTube
it.
channel also there, and you can watch the
Yeah.
conversation back. Okay.
Well, thank you for the dialogue.
Hey, thanks, Fab.
Yeah.
What was your name again?
Jalen. What was yours?
Chip.
Chip. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck, Chip.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
and please consider animals. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Cheers. Can you guys hear me okay now? I know there was a sound issue, but I just tried to fix it just now. Back again. Okay, fixed. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I feel like he indeed was a good listener. He was listening to it. He was kind of going with it, and I feel like I just felt like it was a natural stopping point. I didn't feel like it felt natural to try and push him more. It's kind of sad that that's all we could have, but I do hope that like I appreciated his openness. I appreciated his open-mindedness towards saying that it is just a justification religion, and you don't see that often. So when I see people actually being in that direction, I really want them to, seeds planted, exactly. Somebody said desync. Is that an issue for everybody? Can you guys hear me? I see some Marth, you say that. Is the desynchronizing issue for everybody? Oh, okay, for everybody. Okay, then I'll be back in 1 second, okay? Okay, I'm back. Can you guys hear me okay now? Can you guys hear me okay? Sounds great? Yes, great, okay. Yeah, the YouTube app is it's kind of a shitty one for streaming. I've been thinking about starting streaming on TikTok, to be honest. The YouTube app really annoys me. Somebody made a donation, thank you for whoever did. I don't know who did that, I can't see that. Also, again, the YouTube app is kind of shit. Yeah, as I was saying, I think it was a good conversation. I think he was open-minded, and I think I do appreciate him engaging. Yeah. David says you can do both. Let's get you a second phone. Pfft, David. I love how you're thinking, David, but I'm poor, man. I'm a poor guy. I actually had to. I have some stock options that I normally live off of, but because of fucking Trump, I cannot sell stock, because if I sell, I'll lose a lot of money. So I gotta wait out until the stock market recovers, so I don't have any money for a couple of months. Yeah. Not all places in this world have all the comfortable amenities that you are used to, says Weird Beard. Yeah, Weird Beard. I believe that if you have access to a supermarket, then you have enough resources. Is it easier in other places? Sure. I'm not denying that, but I think that as long as you have access to a supermarket, it is easy enough. No TikTok, please. It's banned in India. And I don't want to lose watching you, says Samarth. Nah, that's okay, Samarth. Yeah, I mean, if I were to be doing it on TikTok, I'll continue also on YouTube, by the way. I wouldn't just be doing it only on TikTok, so yeah. Yeah, everybody, if you've been enjoying the conversation so far, remember to hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that notification bell so that you know when I go online. We have conversations like this with people quite often. And we're trying to get people to think a little bit of their choices. We're trying to get people to make better choices. You want to try a social experiment?
What's it about then?
I just ask you some questions, get you to
Okay.
think a little bit. Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
I suppose so.
Okay, what's your name?
Louise?
Luisa?
Yeah.
I'm Chip, nice to meet you.
Hello. That's an American name, isn't it?
Chip? No, I'm originally from Romania, but I just
Oh.
shortened it as Chip. Where are you from?
Here.
Here, like Netherlands. Okay. Let me ask you, how do you feel about animals?
Yeah. You either eat them or you love them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which one are you?
Both.
You're both? So you said you either eat them or you love them. Can you love them and eat them at the same time?
Yeah, that's a big philosophical question, really. You can't, it's. Yeah, you can actually. Yeah.
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 So if somebody says that they love you, can they cut your throat and chop you
I
into
have been a
pieces?
vegan and I have been a vegetarian, but now I've changed because the thing is, I think I was very short of B vitamins. I really ran myself down from being not eating meat, so now I do eat meat. That's the reason for eating meat.
Couldn't you supplement?
No.
Why?
No. Physical problems.
What kind of physical problem?
Well, that's getting a bit, that's asking a lot. It would make me sick to take supplements.
To take a
If they were
B12 supplement? To take a B12 supplement?
No, I had to. B12 was okay because I could get patches, but B3, B6, and the rest of them.
But
I
all
could
of that you can get them from plants and plant-based products.
No.
Only B12 is the only one.
No,
I'm a certified nutritionist. Okay.
No, I know a lot about nutrition, but I couldn't because I had a problem with my stomach, and if I ate anything very sharp, I would have pain for a week.
Okay.
So that's just.
But
the
you can
sort-
get it also in liquid form.
No, I tried sniffing it. I did everything. I couldn't take it. So sometimes things just aren't possible. Are you really in this then? Are you vegetarian, vegan? That's your sort of thing. Is it to stop people eating meat or to disencourage them?
I don't really care what people do. I just care that people stop oppressing animals.
Oh no. Well, I always get happy meat. I always do buy happy meat from
So animals who happily died,
the expensive ones.
who happily were cut into pieces, chop their head off.
No, they don't do that. The ones that I buy, no. The ones that I buy don't.
Do you think
that.
they're not chopped into pieces?
I must say I've been through all this years ago. I'm a lot older than you, so I've been through all these questions a long, long time
Have you
ago.
ever been next to a slaughterhouse?
Yes, I have. Yes.
And
I
have you seen that? Do any of those animals go in it like, yay, I want to go in?
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, I'm a lot older than you, so I've been through all this. I've thought it all out for a long, long time. And I used to be like you, like sort of, I couldn't
I
understand.
don't think you're like me because I don't think you were ever vegan. Do you know what being vegan is?
I was a vegan for a few months.
What is
and-
being? What is being vegan?
Oh, well, then you don't eat milk, cheese, anything from an animal.
Is it a diet?
No, it's a way of life. But I'll have to go now
It's a
because
moral philosophy of respecting
I've been
animals.
through all this years ago. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you're a long way behind me.
Well, no, not really, because I respect animals. You were vegan for a couple of months, and because you said you have some issues with your health, you
You'll have to-
decided
you'll
to
have to-
take
you'll-
to take it on your own hand instead of consulting a specialist and exploit and slaughter animals because you think it's okay. Because you have the privilege to do so.
Yeah.
Imagine if somebody had
But the
privilege
thing is-
over
the
you and
thing
they
is,
wanted to
once
exploit
you
and
get a
slaughter
lot
you.
older, you get a lot more philosophical, and you realise that there are so many different people in the world. I don't agree with you, you don't agree with me, but there are so many different viewpoints.
Yet you seem to think that you respect animals and at the same time you chop them into pieces for optional products.
I don't chop them into pieces.
You pay
but-
for somebody to do it. Yes, that's such a big difference, isn't it?
Yeah, you're very aggressive.
Yeah, I
Thank
am.
you.
I am to people who abuse animals, yes.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, animal abuser. Good luck. Yeah. I'm aggressive. There you go. We also had to have the one discussion that was aggressive. The sheer ridiculousness. Oh, I can't get my own diet, so I have to cut the throats of animals. What do you mean? I have to do it. And I do it out of love. They're happy animals. They're happy to be cut into pieces. You want to try a social experiment? I can't read the screen anymore. The sun is in a way that it's difficult. Some people, yeah. Morning Hope says that's not nice, Chip. What isn't? It's not nice indeed. Animal abusers are not nice. I agree with you. Abusing animals for optional products is insane. Yes. The fact that you think you have the right to oppress animals is insane. It is definitely not nice. This is not how you get through people. Well, that's okay. You never know, do you? I've met several people who went vegan for somebody being direct with them. She's an old lady, so who cares? She just mentioned that she has more experience and she's better knowing than me. She just mentioned that. The fact that she is older than me doesn't mean anything. Show some respect. I don't think animal abusers deserve respect. I'm sorry, they don't. They don't deserve respect for that action. I respected her, but I firmly confirmed that she pays for animal abuse. She pays for animal exploitation. But that's it. I'm not here to explain myself. I know what I did, and I think what I did was just right, and it's very appropriate. You wouldn't you wouldn't say show some respect to a person who chooses to exploit and slaughter a human, okay? You show some respect to Jeffrey Dahmer, okay? He killed and slaughtered humans and ate them afterwards, but show some respect to him. No. Let's not show respect to people who choose to exploit and slaughter animals, and when we're presented with the fact that it is wrong to do so, they still continue to do so, and they still choose to do so. No, those people do not deserve respect. I'm sorry, they don't. You deserve respect when you don't know that you're oppressing animals. When you know that you're oppressing animals and you choose to do so because, I don't know, you're old or something. Nah, sorry. Yeah, never mind. I'm not going to be replying to the questions about this last conversations anymore because I don't really want to justify myself, and I think I made a pretty clear point about it. I do not think we should be giving respect to people who are doing immoral acts knowingly. I do not think we should be respecting immoral actions, knowingly done immoral actions. If you knowingly punch somebody or if you knowingly cut somebody's throat because you want to do it, I don't think you should be respected for it. There you go. It's as easy as that. You deserve respect if you want to change, if you're having difficulty changing. All that is totally different scenario. But you just saying because like her claiming that she was vegan for a couple of months, nah, that's bullshit. She was plant-based for a couple of months. Number one. And number two, her saying that she had the B vitamin deficiency, and not even B12. She said other B vitamins. That's ridiculous. You can get B vitamins from all plant-based sources. I'm a certified nutritionist, man. You can definitely get all the B vitamins from plants and plant-based sources. And even if not, even if you can't, even if you're having issues, since when do you have the right to exploit and slaughter sentient beings because you're incapable of forming a proper diet. Since when? I fail to see that. Why? Why? You don't. That's it. You don't. I'm trying to read the comments, but it's really difficult because of the sun. Yeah, you either eat them or you love them. Which one are you? And she said both. Exactly. That's a direct contradiction. Somebody said you did for most of your life. Exactly, John Partridge. And I did do that for the most of my life. And since it was presented to me, I have the moral obligation to look into it and change. That's it. That is a moral obligation. If I choose to not do any of it, get informed, or be on my way to change, then I am acting immorally and I don't deserve respect for my choices to not do that. Exactly. I would apply that same thing to myself, yes. She might have cognition issues. No, she didn't. Let's not victimize her. She was not the victim, okay? The victims are the innocent animals who she exploits and slaughters every day. The victim is not her. She's not the victim. Somebody was a little bit direct with her. That was me. She's not the victim of anything. I only call her an animal abuser because she is an animal abuser. And rightfully so, because she knows what she's paying for, and she is paying for it. I'm not talking about people who don't know what they're paying for, who didn't have this conversation, who didn't have this revelation, who didn't go through it. Talking about the people who went through it, and then they continue to do it because they want to do it. Or they find all these justifications of, oh, it's B vitamins, of all the things. Come on. What a ridiculous argument. John Partridge says, not the way to gain friends and influence people. John Partridge, I'm not here to gain friends. I'm here to speak on behalf of animals. I'm here to defend them. And I've been it's so funny because, you know, I've been nice all day to everybody, but the minute I am being direct with somebody and I'm not just, I don't know, being overly nice to them, everybody's like, no, that's not how you do it. It's not you. Come on. I don't even know why I'm still engaging with this argument. I guess part of me feels guilty for calling her an animal abuser, but she was one. Well, that's true. Maybe I shouldn't have called her that, but that's okay. It's okay. She was that. We should be honest. And but everything else was just on par. I think that's the only thing that is iffy. But everything else, just okay. I think that's exactly how we should have a conversation with somebody who. No, it can be pretty fast. Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Edel.
Edel, I'm Chip. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Can you come a little bit closer so that you're in view? Nice, love it. So, Edel, how do you feel about animals?
I haven't really considered. Generally good.
Generally good. Let me ask you this. Do you think animals deserve moral consideration? And by that I mean that if our actions impact them, then we should consider their well-being.
Yes, I
Yes.
agree.
You think they do, right? Okay, appreciate it. Do you think that we are giving them moral consideration when we are exploiting and slaughtering them for optional food?
No.
No. Okay. Are you vegan?
I'm not, but I wish I was.
You wish you were. Okay, can I ask why do you wish you were?
Because I think it's a bit like a Holocaust when you farm animals and keep them captive and tied up and
Exactly.
tethered and all the rest of it. I can't think of anything less humane.
That's a beautiful sentence, and you're right. It is exactly that. It is like a Holocaust. You are right that it is extremely inhumane, and your values seem to be on point with veganism. And then let me ask you, why is it that your actions are not on point then?
If I'm being honest, I should probably make time. I would like to be mindful enough in the way that I eat, but I think to be healthy, it requires quite a lot of planning and preparation to eat a healthy vegan diet. I think
Yeah.
I don't like the substitutes and things
Fair
like that,
enough.
so that's a lot of fresh salads and vegetables and things, which sound simple, but actually to make it tasty and things requires quite a lot of effort. But then I challenge myself with actually, what do I feel I need to be in a rush for? Do you know what I mean? What am
I know,
yeah,
I know. We
yeah,
always
so
seem
I'm
to be rushing for
conflicted.
no reason. Yeah.
Yeah, for nothing of value. So I am conflicted with my own actions.
Well, let me put it this way. If I provide you with the resources that would help you out with this particular issue that you're having, would you see it as an obligation then to go vegan, as a moral obligation to yourself?
Ooh, yeah, I probably would.
You probably would. Okay, okay. Is there anything else holding you back from this, from being vegan?
No.
No. Okay. Well, then let me provide you with resources. Quick conversation. So if you scan this QR code right here,
Yeah.
there's a thing there called Challenge 22. They hook you up with a nutritionist. They send you recipes every day and help you go vegan for free.
Perfect.
Sounds like exactly what you need.
Exactly what I need.
How many more animals should be exploited on your behalf until you go vegan?
None.
None. What's your name again?
Edel.
Edel. Are you gonna go vegan, Edel?
Yeah, I think I am.
Hell yeah, I appreciate you, Edel. You have my social media there, and if you have several other issues, I'm a certified nutritionist myself.
Great.
And you can contact me and I'll help
Great.
you out. Okay?
Good work.
Yeah.
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much.
Yeah.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. This is how conversations should go. This, everybody, this is how conversations should go. You see this. Oh. Awesome people. This is a nice person. Some people, they just need information. Why aren't they all like that, says the LTN. Exactly, the LTN. You know why they aren't all like that? Because we live in a non-vegan world. That's why they aren't all like that. When we live in a non-vegan world, what is happening is that to challenge somebody to go vegan can seem hard for some people. And because it seems hard, then cognitive dissonance will set in, and then they will try to justify something horrific simply because they don't want to change. Hey, little buddy, what are you doing? Hitting my face like that. Come on. Yeah. Come on. Look at this. Look. Look at this beautiful little being. Hey. Are you okay? You good? You like my hand? Oh, no, you don't. That's good. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we have about 30 minutes left. We've been going on for a little bit of 2 hours. I think maybe one more minute. Yeah, ladybug. I used to have a time, Steve, where I would, for some reason, ladybugs were just all over me. I don't know what it is. Ladybugs, sometimes they're very attracted to me for some reason. This ladybug just accidentally hit me. But there was a time in my life when almost every day I remember having a ladybug on me for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's a smell or something. Ladybug. Ladybird. Did I say ladybird? Some guy the fifth. Also, I'm sorry if I came out disrespectful. Some guy the fifth. Listen, we don't mind here disrespect, by the way. I mean, obviously we mind if you call us names. We don't like that. That's why I don't like that I call that person names. We're here to judge actions. We're here to get people to change. We're here to have tough conversations. Sure, not everybody likes to have tough conversations, so I appreciate you sticking around and trying to have tough conversations with us. Okay, and subscribe and come back. Maybe some of the things some of the conversations that you'll hear will resonate with you. I don't know. That's how I got into it. I just like watching debates, and I started watching debates online about veganism. And after watching a couple of debates, people were just making some of my arguments for me, but they weren't continuing down the line I would continue at. So it just took a couple of videos that I watched consistently. I think it took a couple of days, and eventually all my arguments were met. And I distinctly remember that when my final argument was met, was like, holy shit, I have a moral obligation right now to change. And of course, my first initial instinct was to deny it. My first initial instinct was to say, no, I don't want to be part of it. I thought of maybe getting a chicken in my balcony or something. But you know, what I realized was that I do need to change. I do need to look into it. So I started looking into it. If it happens in the Netherlands, of course, by I started looking into it, I meant it took a couple of hours. So in the same evening, I didn't buy any more animal products or anything. And in the same evening, I realized that yes, it does happen in the Netherlands, that yes, it is everywhere. It is the exact same thing everywhere. So then I saw it as, well, I gotta go vegan. And at first it sounded a little bit scary, but then I was also like, you know what? Change can be good. Change could be cool. And I actually saw it as a challenge. And it took me like 20 days to find out, like, I never bought animal products again since that night. But I also didn't throw away the ones that I had in my fridge. I was vegetarian. I wasn't eating meat anyway. And I just took all of the products that I had in my fridge and replaced them with plant-based versions of them. And it just got me through 20-something days. And yeah, I easily found ways to make it work. And for me, I think for me it was particularly easier than other people, because for me diet has always been a tricky thing, because I'm a person who is very focused on health, on high protein, on good nutrition, on making sure everything. That's why I became a certified nutritionist, because I did it for myself first and foremost. So if me, a person who is a difficult eater, because I'm a difficult eater, for me nutrition is very important. And taste is also important, but it's secondary, let's put it this way. If I could find ways to make it work, I'm sure anybody could. Anybody could. It's literally just you looking out and finding the solutions that make it work for you. Maybe part of the solution implies having some processed plant-based meats, but that's okay. You don't have to have it every day, but maybe if that keeps you on the right track from time to time, nothing wrong with it. In fact, there are some processed plant-based meats, like the ones from the vegetarian butcher. Like, I think there's a couple of brands here in the Netherlands. I can't know every brand in the US, but I also know a brand in the US that are actually quite healthy. Like in US, there's a brand that makes plant-based meat from mushrooms, and it is literally just that, mushrooms. It cannot be healthier than that. It is high in protein. It is like a mushroom steak, freaking delicious. So I'm just saying, we can find solutions. We can make it work. We gotta, it can seem hard on our end, but the reality is that it is not that hard. It is much easier for us to change than what animals go through. So we also have to consider the victims on that perspective. But also, we also gotta expose ourselves to this information a little bit more. We gotta, I think that if you truly want to know where your values lie, if you actually want to be vegan, or if you actually think that your values are so strong that you will never be vegan, then you should probably be accessing vegan channels with an open mind and kind of actually listening to the arguments over and over again, because at some point it does click. Everybody in their mind, eventually it does click, and eventually you realize just what kind of a messed up world it is, because it does click eventually. That click that, wait, what the hell? Why is it that we exploit some animals but not others? Why is it that we think it's okay to exploit animals when we don't need to? It just clicks, and you just realize that behind your money, where you give your money, behind in closed doors, there's just violence, exploitation, and abuse, and you pay for it. You guys want to try a social experiment?
Hello, sure.
Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
Yes.
Can you come closer so that you're in view?
Yes, of course.
What's your name?
Stavros.
Stavros, nice to meet you. I'm Chip. Where are you from?
Nice to meet you. I'm from Greece.
Greece. Okay, Stavros, how do you feel about animals?
About what kind of animals?
Just in general, let me ask you this. Do you think animals deserve moral consideration? And by that I mean that if our actions impact them, then we should consider their well-being.
Yes, I think our actions impact animals, of course, and they deserve what we deserve. They have the rights we have.
Yeah, so
That's
do you
my
think
opinion.
they deserve body autonomy, as in the right to decide what they want for their body?
Yes, that's right. But I think it's hard for animals to express their feelings to us.
100% you're right. It is hard for them to express that, but we can acknowledge that they want that simply by the sheer fact that when we try to get an animal to do something, they maybe don't want to do that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so do you apply this logic also to animals that we farm, like cows, chickens, pigs, all that stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, so are you vegan?
No.
No. So then, do you think that then aren't you participating in exactly the same thing where you're paying for exploitation, slaughter of innocent animals when you don't need to?
Yes, I am not doing the correct thing. I'm
Yeah.
supporting something I don't do myself.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's very important for us to eat food like that, meat and stuff.
Can I ask why?
The vitamins and proteins and all that.
Which one specifically?
I don't know specifically, but I know it's really healthy.
What if you were to find out that you can be healthy without consuming animal products?
Oh, I know that, but I believe it's best for ourselves to eat everything God gave.
So if you were to find out that it's actually best for yourself to not consume animal products,
If I knew that this was correct, I would probably stop.
what if they're both the same? You can be just as healthy and just as thriving with consuming animal products or without.
Then I would choose without.
Then you would choose without, yeah.
Yes.
So, okay, so, well, there is evidence that we can thrive on a plant-based diet. There's benefits to it, like less of a risk of cardiovascular disease, you know, like, which is the main reason why people die nowadays. Less of a risk of colon cancer because you would be eating more fiber and all that stuff. But let me ask you this, morally, since you seem to agree that what we do to animals is wrong and animals deserve this, then even if there is a small difference in the other way, let's assume there isn't, but let's assume that there is, don't you think you should still go vegan and leave animals alone because you think they deserve body autonomy?
Yes. I think going vegan is a good choice for everybody that wants to do that.
Yeah.
I'm supporting everybody that follows this choice. And
So do you think you should do it also?
I think, but I don't think I can.
Why?
Because I like the taste.
So you like
of
the
meat.
taste,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah. But do you think that your enjoyment of the taste of meat, your 10 minutes of enjoyment, is worth more than their whole existence?
No, it's not. But I'm going with the mindset that the animal I'm eating is already dead.
Yeah, but and which is true. But then, when you buy that product, another animal gets killed to replace that product, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's as a consequence of you buying that animal, as a consequence of you eating that animal product, another animal gets exploited and killed for you, right?
Yes, but the difference I make, being vegan or not, is like zero. So
Well, it's not zero. It's like up to 200 animals per year. It's between 100 and 200 animals per year. But even if it were just one animal, if you could save one animal, wouldn't you choose to do so?
yes, probably.
Yeah, so then you have this option, right? You have this choice to save animals every day.
Yes.
You make this choice 3 times per day. You could choose to be sparing animals the idea that they're brought into existence only to be exploited and killed, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you mentioned taste, and I just want to ask you again, do you think taste is a good enough justification to the list of animals?
For me, yes.
For you, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, so if I like the taste of your flesh, or your girlfriend's flesh, or your mother's flesh, I don't know what the relationship is there, but I don't know. I just
my
assume.
cousin.
Your cousin and your mother. Okay, if I like the taste of their flesh,
Yes.
should I be allowed to exploit and kill them?
No, because it's not the same.
Why is it not the same?
Because-
I would have power over them,
Yes.
and I'm not human. So we're different species. I have power over them, and I can do it.
If you could, I guess.
It would be the same.
No, it wouldn't for me, because
For
they're
you.
my family.
Yeah, exactly. So you see, because you place some form of value on them, you recognize. But do you think that the value that we place on individuals matters, or the value that they themselves have?
They themselves have.
Yeah, exactly. So then animals, do you think an animal doesn't value their own life just as much as you value your own life?
Yes, of course they do.
Yeah, so then by that whole logic, shouldn't we consider that value rather than the value that we place on the animals?
Yes.
So if your value that you place on animals is less that of a sandwich, then shouldn't you be considering the value that that animal placed on their own life and not choose to cut them into pieces for a sandwich?
Yes. I guess they also don't have a choice themselves.
They don't have a choice, we do,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
But that's nothing we can change.
I mean, Yeah, so as far as I see from your perspective, you kind of understand the point. You kind of feel like it is the right thing to do to go vegan. Do you
Yes.
think it's wrong to exploit and slaughter animals?
Yes.
So you
I
also
believe
understand
so.
that. Okay, so then why not change?
Because for two reasons. Basic, mostly because I like eating meat. I really enjoy it. And second, I think that me going vegan personally is very, very small difference to.
But let me pose this hypothetical out there. There's this rich person in this world, right? The richest person in the world. They can choose 100 people every year on this planet to kill. If he kills 100 people on this planet, it means nothing to the whole population. There's
Yes.
8 billion people. It,
Mhm.
it would it wouldn't be even it wouldn't even be a blimp in the whole population of the world.
Yes.
But if you're one of those 100 people, it means everything to you, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So then why don't you see it this way? Maybe you saving 100 animals per year means nothing in the whole grand scheme of animal agriculture because we kill 80 billion land animals per year. But to those 100 animals that get, saved from this situation, it means everything to them, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I agree with that.
you agree with that. But you seem to agree with everything. But let me put it this way. If I say I respect women, but then I go around beating women, do I respect women?
No.
So what I say matters, but what I do matters more, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So what you say is the right thing, but what you do
Yeah, I know I'm wrong.
is
I
the
know
wrong
I'm wrong.
thing. Yeah.
But I don't know. I've been doing that for years. I don't think it's something I can change now.
How old are you?
I'm 17.
Dude, what the hell? You're young, man. Of course you can change. I've seen people at 65 change. I'm 37. I change at 33 or 34, something like that. Everybody can change. It doesn't matter. You just have to. You just have to find that motivation within yourself if
I
you want to
believe
change or not.
I believe it's good to change to vegan.
Yeah.
But I don't want to.
You don't want to. Exactly.
No.
Exactly. So. Isn't that a direct contradiction? You not wanting to go vegan, isn't it a direct contradiction with your values where you say that it is wrong to not be vegan?
Yes, it's the opposite. But
So, yeah, exactly.
it's something me believing being vegan is good.
Yeah.
Is something I believe for the world, not me.
For the world, not
Yes.
you. Because for you, it would be difficult to change.
Yes.
Yeah. Isn't that a bit hypocritical?
Yes, it is.
It is, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to help you. I'll give you some resources out. I guess that's the way to go because you seem to understand the perspective, and I can't force people to do what they want to do, I think at the end of the day, you just got to realize that to that innocent animal that goes into a slaughterhouse, that it gets exploited and slaughtered for you. Hold this for a second. I'm going to show you a little bit of graphic content. Is that okay?
Yes, of course.
Let me show you a little bit. So this is kind of standard practice in animal agriculture.
Yes.
And, cutting their throat, putting a bolt gun to their head. They get put in this thing where they get held and all squares. I mean, to this animal, to this individual, they don't really care if you eat once or twice or,
Yes.
they just care that you ate that one time that brought them there, in that situation. So I don't think you're okay with any of this or any of this. These are images from a slaughter. This isn't even the worst, by the way. This is kind of like the
Yes,
best.
I
images
know.
you can
I've
go
seen
even
lots
worse.
of images.
Yeah, pigs are put in gas chambers. Cows have their throats cut. We kill babies. Jesus, that thing is broken. We kill babies, and all of it is like if you're not okay with that, don't be part of it. That's all I'm saying. You're
Yes,
young.
I think being part of it while I believe it's wrong is wrong.
Yeah, it is. It is a
Yes.
contradiction. Yeah, so make a right statement. You know why? Because if you think it's wrong, it's a good first step. But at some point in your life, you will wake up and you'll realize that just thinking that it's wrong is not enough. Doing the right thing is what you should do, and then you'll start regretting that you didn't do it earlier, like I did. That's exactly my position. I regretted not doing earlier.
Yes.
Just promise me one thing. Watch the most important speech you'll ever hear. It's just you gotta scan this QR code, okay?
Give me 1 second.
Oh, you can scan it now, and I'll also give you the card just in case. But
Okay.
okay, just promise me you'll watch that. Either that or Dominion. Do I give you the cards?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, and you have also my social media there. And
Okay, it's this website?
yeah.
Okay,
It's exactly
great.
this one. Gary
Great.
Yurovsky, the most important
Okay.
speech ever here. Okay?
Yes.
You promise me you'll watch that?
I promise.
Okay. And make changes. Come on, don't be that person. You can do better. You're vegan? Oh yeah.
She does not like meat.
Well, you don't like meat, but being vegan is not about food. It's about the animals. Okay? So saying that I'm vegan because I don't like meat is like saying I respect women because it hurts when I punch them. You know, it's like it's about them, not about us. You see what I mean? But I
Yes.
appreciate you being
Very
vegan in the
nice.
way. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, same. Have a good one.
Thank you very much. Have a good
Bye.
nice day.
You too. I mean, maybe they'll watch the whole video together. Maybe I should have asked that. What was his name, Chip? Damn, I forgot his name. I forgot. I'm sorry. I wasn't focused on that, to be honest. But yeah, that was good. Yeah, we've been having some really good conversations, I think, today. I think I noticed one thing: the good conversations are with the people that listen and don't get defensive. I really appreciated this. Well, he's a child, right? He's 17. I really appreciated his view and how he tackled this. He wasn't defensive. He acknowledged what he's doing is wrong. And I mean, he made kind of a little bit of lightweight out of it, and it's not a lightweight situation. It is really, Stavros, says Martin. Thank you, Martin. Stavros. He made a little bit of a lightweight out of a really bad situation, right? A really violent and oppressive situation. But he listened. His family also listened. Hey, you want to try the social experiment?
Yeah, what's the social experiment?
I just ask you some questions, get you to think a little bit.
Okay.
Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
Is it okay if I stay off
Yeah, it's okay if you stay off camera. What's your name?
Manon,
Manu?
Yeah.
I'm Chip. Nice to meet you. Where are you from?
France.
France.
South of
Okay.
France.
How do you feel about animals, Manu?
Animals,
Yeah.
I kind of love them.
You kind of love them.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way. I'm just going to do this social experiment where I pose a hypothetical scenario.
Mhm.
So I like dogs,
Okay.
but I only like them as puppies. So what I do is I breed the dogs into life. I use them as puppies. I enjoy their existence and everything. And when they grow old, I go into the backyard and I shoot them in the head. It's painless, and then I get another puppy. Is that okay?
No, it's not.
Can I ask why?
Well, I'm searching how to say that in English since it's not my mother tongue.
It's okay.
Well, if you choose to buy a puppy, then you have to realize what consequences it can have on your life and, well, on its life, or he or she. So it's kind of a responsibility that you have to take into consideration.
Is it bad because I'm renegading? Is it bad because I'm renegading?
listening?
Yeah, sure, sure. Is it bad because I'm renegating the responsibility I have towards them, or is it bad because I'm doing something bad to them?
Oh, both.
Both.
I think it's both.
Okay, okay. So if I'm doing something bad to a dog, it's for no reason or for my own selfish reasons. It's bad, correct?
Yeah,
Okay. What if it's a different animal?
it doesn't matter
It doesn't
which
matter,
animal
right?
it is.
So if I don't need to do something bad to them, it is bad to do something bad to them,
Yeah.
correct? Okay, so then I'll bring it back to animal agriculture then. Do you think anything that happens within animal agriculture is one, bad for the animals, and two, something we need?
Oh, okay. I see where this is going.
Yeah.
Well, I think it depends. Is it about like meat?
It's about food, it's about clothing, it's about entertainment, anything.
Okay. Well, therefore, I think about meat in general.
Yeah.
If we need meat, then we can have meat, but without violence or that kind of stuff.
Isn't cutting somebody's throat inherently violent?
It is violent.
Yeah, and do we need meat?
Oh yeah, for our bodies, we do.
What if you were to find out that scientific consensus, I'm a certified nutritionist, you don't have to trust me, you can look it up yourself afterwards, that we don't actually need any animal product. Not meat, not dairy, not eggs, not anything.
Well, we kind of do need some to not have currencies. I don't know if the word in English is correct, but the
The vitamins, you mean?
yeah, exactly.
B12.
The lack of vitamins, especially.
B12 you need.
Yeah, but B12 is a vitamin that is not normally that animals produce enough on their own anyway. So it's a vitamin that is normally produced from a bacteria on the ground. And because we kind of messed up the ground now, farmers have to supplement B12 to their animals. And so if you're getting your B12 sources from an animal, you're really just getting it from a secondhand supplement anyway. But regardless, even if that were not the case, let's say animals do produce B12 and other vitamins, we
Okay.
could always just supplement those, right? Can we really morally justify cutting their throats and cutting them into pieces?
Well, if we don't need to have animals to
Yeah.
have other vitamins, then if we have other ways to have them, then we can do that.
Exactly. So wouldn't you say that then a plant-based diet, maybe with some supplementation, would be the right thing to do when it comes to food, so that we no longer exploit and slaughter animals?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah,
please?
sure. So wouldn't you say that a plant-based diet would be the morally correct choice, given that we don't need to consume animal products, and given that if there's any need, we can supplement?
I think it's more complicated than that. It's not just about morals, and if we don't, I mean, there's a balance that we have to find between killing animals violently and not killing animals at all. I think there's a balance that we need to find, and morals are, yes, we need to have morals, of course.
But let me ask you this, because from the individual side, from the perspective of the animal that is being exploited and killed for you,
Yeah.
what is balance to them? Would balance be you killing them in a nice way, or would balance be you not killing them at all?
It's once again, I think it's more complicated than that. I think we need to find a balance, and I'm not saying that I will find the balance, but
But what is this balance? Because if you were on the receiving end of somebody who let's say this, somebody who's been taught their whole life that they need to beat up women, right? And he says, well, balance for me means beating up one woman, and you're on the receiving end of it. Would you say that that is balance?
no, absolutely not.
No, because you deserve moral consideration and lack of violence on the account that you are an individual who feels, who emotes, who has a subjective experience of the world, right? You experience life through this world. That's the same for animals. They experience life through this world. They have a subjective experience of the world. So while balance for us can seem killing some animals, to those animals it's not balance, is it? They're still on the receiving end of violence.
Yeah, no, I see your point. I agree actually, but I think worldwide it's more complicated than that. But
Worldwide,
I agree.
it is more
I agree.
complicated.
On morals, I completely agree.
Worldwide, it could be more complicated because we have certain systems in place, and changing the whole world can
Yeah.
potentially be more complicated. But when it comes to us as individuals, we have a
Morally, I agree with you.
responsibility, and morally, you agree that.
Oh yeah, completely.
Okay, so I appreciate that you agree with it. So would you say that it is immoral to consume animal products?
Can you repeat that?
Would you say that it is immoral or wrong to consume animal products?
No, I would not say that.
You know, but you said you just agreed with me.
Yeah,
Why
I
is
agree,
it?
but once again, I think it's more complicated than that. There's no just right or wrong, I think.
So
And
what is this middle ground that you
Oh,
seem
wow.
to find?
I don't
that you
know.
seem like what is this middle that you seem to think it's not right, it's not wrong? Like, given that you're put in a position where you can choose to exploit or kill an animal or not do that, what is this gray area that says it's okay to choose to exploit and
one
kill
gray
them?
area is like, okay, let's say that we don't kill animals at all. Let's say that we do not kill animals at all.
Yeah.
Then therefore all the people who live because they're farmers or stuff like
Like
that.
they get their money from it.
Yeah, but not especially killing, but
No, like they're from exploiting. They get their existence from exploiting animals, right?
yeah, but exploiting animals, not necessarily in a bad way, is everywhere in the world. So if
Does
you
that make it
cut
right?
that- no, it doesn't. But
Or does the fact that somebody lives off of or makes money from doing something that is exploitative, which is wrong, does that make it right?
everything and everyone is exploited.
Well,
I think. So
It's
not an excuse.
no, it's not an
exploitation.
excuse. Morally, I do agree with you. I'm
So then,
sincere. I do.
but you
agree
said
with you.
morally you agree with me. But then when
Yeah.
I ask you if morally, is it moral to consume animal products, you said no.
It's more wrong than right. Yes, but it's not like devilish or.
Well, the way I see it, the reason why you wouldn't want to say that it is wrong is because perhaps you haven't been challenged on the situation so far, or perhaps you haven't thought about it enough.
Yeah. it's
But if
probably
you
right.
actually think deep enough, like if you just take a moment to think, we're not here to judge, we're not here to point fingers at people, then you kind of realize that it is kind of immoral. It is kind of bad what we do to them, because if
Yeah,
you
you're
were
right.
in their shoes, you wouldn't want somebody to impregnate you so that they can use you to make milk out of
Yeah,
you,
you're
which is
right.
what we do to dairy cows, right?
Yeah, in that point of view, I think you're right. It's wrong.
Yeah. So then I agree with you. I think it's wrong. You know, that's kind of how I got to the whole situation. You kind of have to go to the points. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But then, let me ask you this, because if I say I respect women, and I ask everybody the same thing, if I respect women, but then I go around beating women, do I really respect women?
Oh no.
No. So if you say it's wrong, but then you go around paying for it, do your values still say that it is wrong?
No, you have to have like an attitude that goes with your
Exactly.
Your value.
You have to align your actions with your value.
Mhm.
Exactly, exactly.
But it's a bit scary to go all the way.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you need more time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
He's
appreciate.
really patient.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
I understand the idea that you perhaps need more time, and it does indeed, like for something that we've been taught our whole life to do 3 times per day,
Yeah.
changing it can seem
Or your friends.
can seem extremely difficult, right?
Yeah.
It's just that if you think a little bit from the other perspective, and if you think, because when we do actions, I think we should consider everybody involved in those actions, including the victims of our actions. And if you think from their perspective, then it already becomes an injustice. And I believe that with any other form of injustice, you would say no matter how difficult it is, people should change, right?
Yeah.
Like slavery, no matter how difficult it is for people to get away from slavery, they should get away from slavery. No matter how difficult it is for people to admit that women should have rights, women should have rights, right? Otherwise it would be an injustice.
Yeah.
And all of this, like, it's the same thing. Like, I think that if you consider the animals and you consider that they should have at least body autonomy, which is the right for them to decide for their own body, then even if it does seem difficult, you should still make the change. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay. Well, let me give you a card. I don't want to pester you too much. I think like you've already. I appreciate you being open-minded to this a lot. Just promise me one thing. Watch either Dominion or the most important speech you'll ever
Okay,
hear.
I
You
will.
just gotta scan this QR code, okay?
Okay, thank you.
And don't wait for too long. And while you're at it, avoid animal products maybe, just so that you find out where your values are. And then, until you watch this, just to learn kind of what it is actually behind them, to see if you're actually okay with it. And if
Yeah.
you're not okay with it, then go vegan. You have resources there and everything, okay?
Maybe I will.
And you can
I
look
appreciate
for,
It's
it.
really
What's your name?
interesting. Manon.
Mano, again, yeah.
You can look for like-minded people to speak
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, you have my social media also there, and you can come on my YouTube channel. There's a lot of people there who do the same thing, okay? Cheers.
Yeah,
Thank
well done. It's a really complicated job you're doing.
you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I hope I'm not interfering with because I want to say something.
No, that's okay.
That's
That's okay.
okay?
Yeah, that's okay. I think it's useful when people come and they see other people
Yeah.
agree with this idea. They're like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
you're right. Yeah,
Because you're, how to put it, not pushing, but the arguments come automatically.
Yeah.
And you got limited time, of course. You can
Yeah.
give all the attention to the other person. You should, but still, your pace is higher.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe you should pause a little bit more, or sometimes talk a bit slower. Maybe.
It's difficult when I speak to people on the street because
Yeah.
I need the argument to be complete.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
part of the reason why I do this with my live stream is not just because of the people on the street that I speak to, but
Yeah.
also for the people who are listening and watching, so that they get the complete argument. Because if you hear
Yeah.
partially, it doesn't really
Yeah.
matter too much.
It's, all these dilemmas everywhere.
It's a complicated.
Complicated world,
when you-
complicated business. Yeah.
When you live in a world where one injustice is so inherent to the whole society, it's kind of difficult to change,
Yeah.
of course. So that
Yeah.
implies all these
Yeah,
things you can
my
navigate.
theory is always of theory, or what I try to achieve in these kind of circumstances is just to make a little point, say to get a small victory on one point, like a threshold ID, and this is good because she has the doubt, and then you push the point a bit. What if you go all the way? What are the consequences, and why can't you make the final step?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel
And
like
that's something she should work out herself a bit, and you can maybe push it a bit in the direction, because it's really hard to say you're right in everything and then change your mind standing here.
Honestly, like, not a lot of people are as open-minded as she was. I
Yeah,
felt like
I
she
think
was
it was
open-minded.
fantastic,
She was
yeah.
very open-minded to the idea, and she even said at the end, "I actually might," which is okay,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
So, so it's difficult, but when I see these people who are kind of reacting nicely to it, they engage with the argument. I feel like I gotta push a little bit more. I gotta push a little
Yeah,
bit more,
yeah.
and then when I see reaction back, then I kind of stop, and it's this whole this dance you do with
Yeah,
them, where you go
yeah,
a little bit much, a
yeah.
little bit less, a little bit much, a little bit less.
Good.
We do our best, you know. That's
Of
what we
course,
can.
fantastic. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I live close by, come by almost every day, so
Oh, nice, nice.
always on the lookout for you.
Did you see also Vegan Future? They're there.
No,
Yeah,
no, I don't like it. Too many people, you know. Even the garden there are too many people.
Oh, I
But
appreciate
I
that.
brought
yeah.
my book and I'm gonna sit read something in the garden.
Oh, nice.
I like the garden because it's non-smoking area. Otherwise, sometimes people come sit next to you if you sit in the Vondelpark, park, you know.
Yeah. What was your name again?
Ron.
Ron. I'm Chip.
Chip,
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Nice.
keep up the good work. I'm gonna have my daily stroll.
Okay. Well, thank you for stopping
Yeah,
by,
yeah,
Ron.
yeah. Bye.
Cheers. Have a good one. Ron is a vegan, everybody. Yes. I think that was a really good conversation with that girl, by the way. That was a really good conversation. I think that girl actually went through all of it with open-mindedness, and it was awesome. We have had a couple of really good conversations today. I really think that was. I appreciate the conversation with this girl more than almost any other conversation I had today. Really nice. Maybe it's a pity that didn't want to be on camera. She was also pretty, and I don't know. She seemed like a smart individual. Anyway, I'm not gonna go in there. I also had a little bit of bias on that. Yeah, but that's it. It's 4 p.m. I gotta go. I want to still meet the people at the Vegan Future and talk to them a little bit. And they're ending at 4. So yeah. Everybody, I hope you got something from this. We've been having a lot of conversation. I hope you enjoyed what we've been doing. The coming week, I will do a stream where I won't be talking to people on the street, where I will want to show you a little bit of something. I'm not telling you exactly what. I'll tell you soon. When I go there, you'll see it. It's kind of like how we did it the last time, where we walked around the city. This time we'll do a little bit different. We'll be walking in a park. And we'll be talking about something, and I want to show you something specifically there. But I'm being a little bit cryptic, but you'll see. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. I just want to get those numbers up. It helps with, if I get the numbers up, then a little bit more people end up watching these kind of things, and a little bit more non-vegans end up being exposed to these arguments. And in the end, it's all about the animals. We want to get other people to understand the argument so that other people start considering animals a little bit more. If you are vegan, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being here. I also put another link in the description of this video for a stream. Like, I believe if you're new to this channel, you probably don't know, but on Sundays on Skyjack Morgan's channel in the evening, which is in like 3 hours, we tune in and we do a live conversation where we talk about injustice, where we talk about not just veganism but any other form of injustice that was happening in this world. It's me, it's Skyjack Morgan, who's an amazing poet, by the way. Also, it is a veterinarian who's amazing at her job, Dr. Crystal. I forgot her last name. But yeah, Crystal, who's amazing at her job. It's the show is called Ethical Underground. It's a pretty cool show, and we do it every Sunday. It's a bit more chill than what you see here. So if you ever want to find something to watch and tune in, I left the link in the description. There's no obligation here. There's no pressure. If you just want to watch something different, watch that. It's in 3 hours, by the way, just as a timeline. But you can see it based on the link that I provided there. Hey, and if you're not vegan, before I leave, you know what? There's a 3-minute video also in the description of this video. Watch that. Give that a watch. See kind of what it is that we're talking about. It just introduces you to this whole idea of what we do to animals, and then really be open-minded to yourself and ask yourself, am I really okay with this? You don't have to tell us if you're okay with it. Just be honest with yourself and tell yourself, are you really okay with this? Hey, Sky, you're here. There you go. Sky is here. Great work, Chip. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Sky. I appreciate everybody for being here. What else did I wanted to say? If you are vegan, also besides plugging in my other show with Sky, which is an amazing show by the way, I also wanted to tell you that it would help immensely, and this whole animal holocaust that it is happening would would be would end monumentally sooner if more vegan people decide to be active, decide to speak up for animals. And being active doesn't have to be something difficult for you to do, but it does require a little bit of your, I'm just gonna go out there and do it. And if you're vegan and you don't have maybe no other vegan friends in your area, if you look at We the Free, if you look at AV, all of these organizations, they provide places where you can gather with other vegans, and you can you can meet other them and have conversations with them and just be surrounded by other vegan people. Also here, by the way, Chip cutting weight, looking lean. Oh, Mobius, you're the only one who noticed. Yeah, I actually been lost like 2 kilograms, not by intention, but just for being sick, really. And well, I ate actually a lot, but apparently when you're sick, a lot of your calories go into something else. I'm vegan because I stand by principle that slavery is wrong and liberty is right, says Sky Jack Morgan. Very well put, Sky. And maybe we should end on that. I'm vegan because I stand by the principle that slavery is wrong and liberty is right. Everybody, go vegan. No more excuses. Thank you for the moderators. Thank you for the donations. Go vegan. Subscribe. Like. See you in the next one. I don't know when the next one will be, but sometime next week. Bye, everyone. And see you tonight at Skies, okay?